My FaceTime like doesn't open the first 6 times I try to open it. It makes me open it over and over and over and over again.
That's fucked up. We should do Zoom. we should switch to Zoom next time.
We should get Skype.
Because yes. Oh my god, Evan, do you remember when we used to Skype?
Didn't we? We did do Skype. For our first
we used
few.
to do this on
how...
Skype, dude. That's how old this is. Oh my god. Okay.
No, yeah, that's how we did. Damn, we did start it.
That was like the first time we talked. Was like we were talking on Skype, you and me.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Because then we used our group chat would do Skype calls.
Yeah, you, me, Molly, and Blaze, and
yeah,
Noah.
AP4K.
And I think we would do the podcast on Skype a couple times. We'd done that.
Yeah, that's how we started
did.
because Amanda would have. I mean, Cam would have to record my audio because I had no way to record my audio back then because I had like a really shitty PC.
Yeah.
Because my PC could not take anything.
Yeah.
That was big.
Back in the day.
Yeah, hey. Hi everybody. Welcome to the Luck We Had, a Shameless Recap podcast. We're still here.
We're thriving.
We're so great.
No, we're not. We're so great.
Everything's fine.
Yeah, I'm still looking for a job, you guys. Just saying.
Yeah.
Anybody out there listening?
If we haven't spoken or recorded since Evan and I saw each other in person, is this our first record of the year?
I think so. I think it is.
I think so. It might be.
That's crazy. That's crazy.
That's actually insane.
That's nuts.
But I think it is true.
Yeah. It's, for context, it's February 24th.
Happy New Year, everybody.
Happy New Year, guys. A lot has happened.
Yeah.
I got hit by a car. I went to the ER.
Yeah.
Unrelated.
I met some crazy.
Evan and I met up in New York with SJ,
Mm-hmm.
and we hung out, and then SJ and I saw Kit Connor in Romeo and Juliet, which closed last weekend. And Kit Connor, through the entire run from the end of September to last week, never missed a show.
Damn.
Never missed even one.
Wow. He was popping vitamin C like crazy.
Right?
Right? That, like, breathalyzer
that, like,
thing.
dead hang that he does.
Yeah, I've seen videos of that.
Not a show.
Kit Connor, everybody's favorite Cameron Monaghan's son. Yeah. Actually,
that man was born to play Romeo.
Yeah, actually, I'm lying. He's not Cameron Monaghan's son. He's Oliver Stark's son. Oliver Stark is Cameron Monaghan's son.
He is. Yes, he is.
Let's call it what it is.
They are family.
Yeah. That looks like a lot of fun.
Taron Egerton's the cousin.
Yes, completely.
Yeah. Oh my god, it was so much fun.
Looked like you guys
and
had a lot of fun.
SJ was a fucking genius. SJ was a genius and picked those seats perfectly.
Yeah.
Oh my god, they were beautiful. He came up right next to us to start the balcony scene. Oh my god, it was amazing.
I would be like,
it was
hi.
amazing.
Hi.
Hey.
Hi.
Hi.
Hey.
And then we stage doored after. He signed my playbill. It was awesome. It was great.
I traveled to the land of Europe by myself.
Oliver Stark's homeland.
The ancestral homeland of Oliver Stark, and also the ancestral homeland of Bjork, Sweden. And it was, it was a lot of fun. I traveled by myself for like a week, and that was cool. And that was all I did over our hiatus.
I don't know. I think my just hospital visits were my extravaganza. I went to the doctor more than I've ever gone to the doctor in the last 5 years. Everything's okay now, guys. My small intestines are just not okay.
Yeah.
Oh, no. Also, I was in the city of Philadelphia when the Philadelphia Eagles won the Super Bowl.
Yes, go Birds.
I was there
That
when people were flooding Broad Street. I was walking the other direction to get to my car, but I was there. Oh my god.
That's beautiful. That's history.
Yeah.
I got several texts about the Adam Devine Super Bowl commercial.
I was one of them. I said congratulations.
It's really nice. It's really nice to be known for something. Yeah, I got some messages for that. And I said, guys, I already know because they released the commercial a couple days
I know,
early.
literally. I was like, congratulations. You were like, I saw it a couple days ago. And I was like, all right.
Adam Devine, you came to me once as a friend who I picked Circle water bottles with in Papa's Orchard. So that was great for me. What else did we do? It was Valentine's Day. That was a day that happened.
That was the day that
and,
happened.
I
Watched
didn't
Oliver
do
Stark play
anything.
basketball on Valentine's Day.
I was on
That's about it.
That's true. I did do that. I was in a hostel. I was in the hostel in the ancestral homeland of Oliver Stark, watching that basketball game.
That was the day of the Eagles victory parade. Yeah. So that's what
Ooh,
I
that's
again
true.
traveled into Philadelphia on the day of the Eagles victory parade.
Crazy.
Which
you had
sounds
to be
so
there.
crazy. Did they grease? I'm sure they greased the poles, but did people get up them
Oh,
anyway?
yeah.
Oh yeah.
People got up the poles anyway?
People
Okay.
got up on the poles anyway.
They're
My
pros.
brother-in-law's brother, Billy, was there on the street when they just ripped a pole out of the ground and started passing it around.
Oh,
Yeah.
I did see that. I
Yeah.
think. That was
That's
amazing.
awesome.
Yeah. I love this stupid
Philly is a
city. I love
city
my
with
country,
passion.
Philadelphia.
No, literally, go birds.
No, literally.
I'm excited for the inevitable season 53 of Always Sunny episode that will be about the Super Bowl, because they already filmed season 18 or
Yeah.
17. They're on
Yeah.
17 now. They already filmed 17, but I think somebody said in an interview forever ago that they think they're gonna stop after 18.
That makes sense.
So hopefully,
At this point, I get it.
I get it. They're crawling to that finish line. Like, the fact that they only do 8 episodes, and this isn't Always Sunny dig anyway. Like, I still watch the show and I love it, but like the fact that they only do 8 episodes and they take like 2-3 years in between,
Yeah.
it's like,
And then
guys, let's
they'll
just wrap
double
it up.
air, and then they'll double air.
And
so
then they
the
double air,
episodes-
so it's over in
Yep.
4 weeks anyway.
I remember when they did that, when they came back
Yeah,
for the first time
like,
in a while,
it's
and
time.
I was so pissed. I was like, it's over already.
I was
It was
pissed.
it was the season
Yeah.
with the water park.
I wasn't aware that Mythic Quest was still on and still airing new episodes,
yeah,
but
still
it in
kicking.
fact is apparently.
Me neither, until some
Yeah.
of my mutuals were like live tweeting Mythic Quest, and I was like, you're still watching Mythic Quest on Apple TV?
Yeah.
Like,
Meanwhile, Caitlin Olsen's
But-
doing some of my favorite work of her career over on High Potential. It was like it's a great
yeah.
as a
it's
person
doing
who
well.
loves the television show Psych, it's made for me. And also James Roday Rodriguez directed the season finale. It was fucking awesome. It was great.
It's looking good, and it's performing really well. I proposed that they should do a High Potential 911 crossover because it is set in LA.
Is
Pretty
that
good.
Caitlin's show?
And they're doing crossovers now, apparently.
Yep.
Yeah, and then 911's doing a Dr. Odyssey crossover.
But not even a
now, I
crossover.
guess.
It's just Athena
But,
joining
or
their
just Athena,
universe.
probably. It's just Athena, I think.
But I also so I have things to say about that crossover too.
But I think that they should do that crossover because then if you connect the dots, Caitlin Olsen has been on Abbott Elementary, and then we can get them the Abbott Elementary crossover
want
they
that
wanted
so
so
badly.
I have things to say about the Dr. Odyssey crossover. I think Sam is the one that said this to me. I think it is stupid to confirm or deny there's something wrong with this boat theory so early in the series. In the first
Yeah.
season, I think it's stupid to do that. Also, the man that Athena saw drown on her cruise ship is a staff member on the Odyssey.
Yep, I did see that.
Okay, well, they did this in Lone Star. He's my cousin who's in jail now, so they don't care about that. I think that I don't know. Somehow if it turns out that like the boat
Like,
is like
that's
hell or
such a
whatever,
fun
the boat is a
theory.
fever dream, a coma dream.
Sam has
Like
a
they
theory.
can explain that away with like somebody. They can explain that away with like, oh, somebody encountered Athena in the living life, and now they're
Like,
just,
she was
they
a cop that
hallucinated her.
arrested them,
You know,
or something
like
like
there's
that. So, like, that's their projection of her.
yeah, like there's ways that they can sort of like work around that. Also, I mean, it's a Ryan Murphy show, so it's like, do
No.
they really care? Like,
Sam,
I guess do they care about the implications?
Sam has a theory that like Athena's therapist, that Dr. Odyssey exists as a television show in the 911 universe, and Athena's therapist tells her to watch it to like confront her like cruise ship based phobias that she still has, and she falls asleep watching it and thinks she's on the show.
Huh.
Ooh, that could be
But then they would have to
interesting.
bring that up
That could be
in
interesting.
911
Yeah, 'cause
instead of
my
it only
thing-
being on
My
Dr.
sort of weird
Odyssey.
thing. Well, yeah, my sort of weird thing is that I'm like, oh, guys, I just realized that photo of Angela in that outfit that everyone was like, it's a funeral. She's on the Odyssey. It's Casino Week.
Yeah. They're going to make an Ocean's 11 reference. I know they're going to, because these shows like to psychologically torture me and continue to mention Ocean's 11.
I think that, well, because I'm weirded out because I'm like, why would Athena be on a cruise ship again? But maybe it's like docked. It's probably docked in LA for the week or something to do this casino thing. But I don't know. But yeah, that photo that came out and everyone was like, she's at a funeral. And then it was like, it was too nice to be a funeral. I'm thinking now that she's on the Odyssey. Yeah. I think that's what that's from. Because they were filming around the same time. Yeah. I don't know. We'll see how that shakes out. It would suck if like the boat, if something was not weird with the boat and it is just like that. Like the whole, because then I think the show would lose a lot of like interest for me if it turns out that it is just like, this is the boat show with, well, I do love the threesome aspect.
Well, and they're already trying to back their way out of that.
Sort of like weird vibes that they have going on.
They are already trying to back their way out of the threesome too. Like, no.
I don't know shit about
Be
that.
brave.
I never watched it.
I'm liking it. I'm really liking it. But if they slash the reality in this crossover, it is going to make me like it a lot less. Like, yeah.
Right, because where's the mystery? Where's the intrigue?
Yeah.
Like, I think that it should be a really contained
It also hasn't been renewed
world
yet.
that they live in.
A crossover so soon,
but
I feel like.
We'll see. I don't know.
911 hasn't been renewed yet.
Yeah, well, it's only one episode.
And Dr. Odyssey hasn't been renewed yet.
Yeah, I think that I think 911, well, the problem with 911's renewal is, like, Max, the journalist, said
People's
that
contracts
are probably under renegotiation. That's probably what's taking so long. Yeah. I think they're going to renew the show either way, but I don't think they want to renew until they can announce for sure who's coming back.
Yeah, when they came over to ABC, they probably had like a 2-year like gap for the contracts. Yeah.
Yeah, and everything got fucked up because of the strikes anyway. So like, I think that they're probably renegotiating. And also, I feel like this is on the precipice of like, okay, are we going to continue this show for several more years? Or are we going to, like, wrap it up while it's still fresh?
I think they could confidently get to season 10 because and not wear it out.
I think so, too, but I don't know. Do you think that they would renegotiate contracts for... I mean, I guess they could just renegotiate contracts for the next 2 years. I think that they could get to 10 without it being stale, and I think everybody would be willing to stay, but I feel like it's more complicated than we give it credit
like
for.
10 I would be satisfied with, so I'd understand if people were like, all right, we gotta shut it down sooner than later.
Yeah.
And, like, I know Grey's is still good, but if 911 just became another Grey's, I would be a little, like, I would be like, okay, let's just let Grey's be the long running, and let's,
too
like,
many
wrap
times
it up,
with, like,
you know?
removing fan favorite characters who could have been additions to be able to continue that story. Like, the only exception is now we're getting Ravi back, but, like, there were so many opportunities where they could have chose to go that route, but they locked in too much on a cast.
Lucy. I know the Michael thing was complicated, but like, yeah, it's just like we've already lost a lot of like.
But no, yeah, it's just like we locked in too hard on just the main core people that like you lost all the opportunity to like slowly fizzle in a new era of crowd, because like you could have kept Lucy. But obviously now she's on her goddamn lifeguard show. Someone texted me about that the other day. They were like, I saw a show about like lifeguards and it's like firefighters. I was like, it's literally
like, hey,
it's by the same people, and it actually has one of the characters from
it's literally her
firefighter show. Thank you. And then they got to learn about Lucy Donato.
Yeah. Wait, does she play Lucy Donato on Rescue High Surf?
No. But
no, but it is
firefighter life. It's literally lifeguards, but it's like 911. It's crazy.
Well, they're just the first responders of the beach.
Well, then why didn't she just play the same fucking character?
Because I bet they didn't want to pay her. Like, I bet, like, I don't know. There's probably, well, is Rescue High Surf a Ryan Murphy show? I guess it could feasibly be Lucy.
I don't think it's...
But
I was assuming it was Baywatch. Like, it's Baywatch, right?
It is Baywatch. It's basically Baywatch. But they do a lot. I think they do a lot more with, like, bigger disasters, natural disasters, because it's, like, set in Hawaii. But, yeah, I don't know. The thing about 911, and I'm not worried. Like, I think it's going to get renewed. But, like, I feel like 911 is very much Buck's story. And I hate to say that because it's like, because everybody's important. But, yeah, he's on the hero's journey. And I think that So my thing is that I'm like, if we are to, I mean, and there's a lot we can do with Buck for sure. And I'm sure they're having these conversations, but like, okay, say hypothetically they do Buddie. Okay, that is a major aspect of Buck's character journey that is then locked down. He's in an endgame romantic relationship. Now the focus becomes, where is his career going? But we, I feel like, can't keep interest for the multiple seasons that it would take to build out an arc of him
there's not enough
rising
time to
through
do
the
that.
ranks to become captain, because that's a years-long
Well,
process.
well,
I feel
no,
like that's
but,
a time jump
but
thing.
we can see Lieutenant. We can see Lieutenant happen, and then like, you know, a series finale could have a flash forward to Captain. Like,
Could have a time jump. The weird thing about that is like 911 is very fast and loose with like the hierarchy of the fire station. I don't think anybody's ever been named.
I
a
think
lieutenant.
Hen is.
Like, we know
I
that
think
that's
Hen
a thing
is. That's
they do
why
in
she
real life.
keeps getting to be default captain.
But is she? Yeah, but I don't think they ever explicitly say that she's a lieutenant.
Like, that's her
I think
ranking.
they're just
like, I don't think they ever like.
yeah, like I don't think they give her a ranking. Like I just think it like we know because we know, but like it's not.
We'll have to look
and
at her
even then,
dress uniform to see if she has any bars.
if
or
it's
anything.
different.
Oh, true.
And the
Yeah.
and the other thing is like Bobby being captain. Well, there's captains of the different shifts. Like, it's not just like
Yeah, Bobby's not the only
Bobby's the
person
captain
there.
of the
He's
whole
just
house.
A shift.
Bobby's
No,
not
yeah.
Well, Bobby's not the only captain in the house.
Yeah.
He's the captain of that shift.
Of A shift,
So
yeah.
it's I think that's another thing. That's another thing that they like play really fast and loose with sometimes.
Like, he's not the only big bad, but he ends up only being the person spoken to about issues within like their station. But I'm like, there's other people there that could
right
do that
because-
those jobs.
Right, because we can't focus on other shifts and the captains of other shifts, but like that would be interesting. They mention them like sometimes, like they'll mention like Captain whatever who runs the B shift, but it's like,
But we're
yeah,
never gonna get
it's
a
weird.
face
They
to
don't
the
really
name.
stick to hierarchy in a strict way.
Like, it's either just
Um,
captain or you're a firefighter.
or you're a firefighter, or you're a firefighter paramedic.
Yeah,
like I feel like
EMT,
that's the
whatever.
only distinction is like, can you do med calls?
Well,
Yeah, like
so
even in
I've
like,
been,
the lineup
I've
with
been,
Gerard, they had everyone in one line, not separated with their like positions.
Since we last talked, I have started and am nearly finished ER. And I'm comparing ER to 911 in this moment. First of all, John Wells fucking made ER. Did you guys know that? It's John
No.
Wells and
I
Michael
did
Crichton
know that.
production.
That was, like,
of
his
ER.
big-
Yeah. And it's very much just like Buck in the first episode of 911, Buck and Bobby. There's Dr. Mark Green, and then medical student Noah Wiley. It's Noah Wiley's character, the medical student. And he's the Buck to Mark Green's Bobby. And the show is very much it follows him from a med student all the way through to being an attending, and he leaves in season 12, and the show only lasts 3 more years after that. Like, the Mark Green character leaves in season 8, and like they kill his character off. I wept like a fucking small baby, by the way, when they killed off his character. I just snot coming down my face. Oh my god, there was
Yeah.
like the ukulele version of Somewhere Over the Rainbow. And then Noah Wiley's character finally leaves, and the show there is a strong enough cast of characters to support it through the last 3 seasons, but they are struggling. So I think it's very
also,
much
like,
could be
sometimes
that
you can
same
just tell
situation.
the writers are like, we're done.
Yeah.
Yeah, and like I don't anticipate
Also,
Oliver leaving. I don't think he would like I think he likes this job. I think
Yeah.
he likes having a job.
yeah.
I don't think he would like leave. I think he likes being jobful.
I think
I
he likes
think
being
in like
employed.
4 or 5 years, if he starts getting like movie offers, I think he could.
It's not that, because I feel like he's got offers. I just think that like it's less about him. It's more, I feel like he would be like, has Buck's story run its course?
Yeah.
Is sort of, I think, where he would be. Like, because again, he's Cameron Monaghan's son. And I think that he would be like, has Buck's story like run its course? Have we seen everything that we could see from him? Are we satisfied with where he's landed? And so that's like sort of why I can understand this like drawing out of like Buddie as a thing if they really were to stretch it out. And this is in a hypothetical world where it's like a guarantee that it's gonna happen. I just like, because I'm a believer, but I'm also like grain of salt, can't say whatever.
There's like the initial realization of it. They will probably easily fall into like and we've been together for 9 years relationship. But, like, there's also, hey, what does this mean? Hey, do we move in? Every time I try to move in with somebody, they break up with me. Like, on both sides.
I think that there's for sure room for, like, growing pains in their relationship. And I think, like, and this is something that you don't see a lot in fanon, because it's like, oh, we've been together for 9 years. Like, it should just be easy. And it's like, yeah, that's true. And that probably would be true if this were real life, but this is TV land and we need conflict. So they're gonna piss each other off.
They're gonna blow up and
they're gonna do stupid shit that they wouldn't have done when they were friends. Like, yeah. So like there's a lot of story there to be told, but then it's like, okay, well, we know once we get past these like growing pains as well, now it has to be about career. Because that's the only thing we have left in the show is like career. And everybody else is at a really, like, solid, stable place in their personal lives and pretty much their professional lives, because Hen's made it pretty clear that she doesn't want to go back to medical school.
I think it would also be a very, very important story point for them to have a child. For Buck, because Buck is built to be a dad, clearly wants to be a dad, and Eddie really didn't have a choice the first time around, but is a great dad. So them, like, making that choice together would be, like, I feel like if we go 3-4 more seasons,
I think that they would
be a final
I think they would do
button
Save Your
with
Baby.
them.
They would do Baby Box. The Safe Haven Baby, for sure, for them, because I think any other, because here's my thing, is I think that like and I love that we're just doing fan and exploration right now because they're not even canon
on a show that is not what this podcast is about.
Which is amazing and beautiful of us, but we've been gone for 2 months, so you guys deserve a little treat. I think that, like, my thing is that I think both of them would be really preoccupied with, or, like, held up by this idea of, like, we don't want Christopher to feel like we're replacing him. Yeah. Or, like, we're, you know, doing a do-over with having a kid. I think surrogacy I don't think they would go for that. I also weirdly don't think that they would, like, I don't know if the show would push them towards adoption. I think that this baby literally has to fall into their lap. No, I think it has to be a safe haven.
The baby has to show up. It has to be like a call, and then no one can watch the baby, and they're like, "Oh, we have a spare room," or some like bullshit. Like there has to be. Oh. Like no other choice.
It's a baby box.
It can't be like
it's
an illegitimate child of Bucks. Like it's got to be the Firehouse baby box. Like for fucking sure. Because the fact that they haven't like done that as a thing already means that it feels like they're saving it. Yeah.
And those are the perfect people for it to fall into.
I don't think I would be that upset if they like didn't have a child.
I think I would be fine.
Like another child. I would be like, okay, but I think I would be satisfied with their dynamic that they build with Chris. I think I would be satisfied, like, because if they
I feel like it is an important thing. I feel like it is a vital, important final thing. Because like Buck clearly wants to be a dad, and might
Buck's
consider
arc,
himself
absolutely.
And
for
Eddie,
absolutely,
and Eddie actively participating in choosing for this to happen this time, I think is an important final hurdle for him.
Yeah, well, to do that, they have to actually write Eddie's character, unfortunately. And it seems like they don't like to do that.
No, that's true. That's true.
And that's like it literally just like feels like they give Eddie table scraps a lot of the time, because it's like we understand all these things about Eddie and know all these like deep, intimate, you know, inner workings of Eddie's mind and his characterization. To be honest, the show does not.
No, it doesn't.
Like the show doesn't make it
know who that man
explicit.
Cheerleader dad was a good rare like great bit of writing for him. Cheerleader dad.
Oh, and like Dispatch arc, like for sure. But I just like I think and that's the thing where I'm like, say what you will about Kristen Rydell, but to be honest, under her like lead, Eddie had some of the best storylines that he's had. Because that was like Dispatch, and the only disappointment was like they were kind of doing the buddy baiting, and it did feel jarring in season 6 when they barely talked to each other. But hey, there are monuments everywhere for those with eyes to see, because I was writing meta for sure. But like And Couch Theory, of course. How could we forget?
Of course.
Our beloved. Which is not an accident because Andrew Myers wrote every episode that the Couch Theory appears in, by the way. I forgot where I was going. Oh, Eddie had great storylines. I actually really loved the masculinity storyline in season 6. I was like, okay, I wasn't fully satisfied with how it like played out because again, it's that thing where like they give him a really interesting storyline and then they like don't explore it all the way. But I thought it was like a step in the right direction. I was like, okay, like,
and then they forgot
we're doing something with Eddie at least. Well, they just sort of, I feel like they came back and they sort of retconned it because they like started to sort of repair Eddie's relationship with his parents, particularly his father. And then they were like, wait, we need drama.
Yeah.
Wait,
so
they gotta baby snatch him.
You're like, never mind, we have to do Vertigo real quick. Sorry.
Which is so fucking funny. Like, I see, and that's the thing is, like, I think Tim is made for running shows like this because I do admire the way that he's like, I write whatever the fuck I want. Like, I write whatever makes me laugh.
Mr. Tim Minear changes the script day of, like, of course this is made for him.
Right, like, I think it's great. So, yeah, that's all I can say about that.
So,
we'll see what happens when we come back. I hope, which is in, like, a week.
Yeah. Shifting into the world of Shameless. So like I said, I've been watching ER from the beginning since we last spoke. There are over 300 episodes of ER. I'm nearly finished. I'm in season 13. This was partially to stave off me restarting Grey's Anatomy from the beginning again, because that's not healthy. So I started just as long of a show that's also a medical drama. That is what Grey's Anatomy stole from, just blatantly. For some characters. And did you know ER and Grey's Anatomy were on at the same time for Grey's first 5 years? ER went until 2009. ER went until he went right from ER to Shameless. Like boop bop, like right over.
That's hilarious.
Yeah.
That's awesome. I mean, like, John Wells is prolific.
And William H. Macy is in the first 3 seasons of ER.
Oh yeah, I have seen him on TikTok.
And we'll get into this too, because our director of today's episode has worked on ER as well as Animal Kingdom, which is another Wells show, and I think Southland is also another John Wells show. Yeah,
I see Christopher Choclack's name come up. Also, is Princess Mahoney a person that has worked on Shameless? Every time I see her name, I'm like, I recognize that name.
I think so. I feel like she's a producer. Let's see, Southland. Yep, John Wells. Princess Mahoney.
What a great name.
It is a really good name. It's almost as good as Sam Pancake.
Princess O'Mahony.
Princess O'Mahony.
Well, she's Sally Field's sister.
Whoa! Sally Field plays Maura Tierney's mom in ER.
Yeah, she's Sally and Richard Field's sister. And she did work on ER. But she also worked on Dexter, which is not a John Wells show, I don't think, but is a Showtime show. So network of it all.
But yeah, it's very funny the amount of like young stars that I've seen show up, like little baby Anton Yelkin. Little teeny baby Anton Yelkin has showed up in ER. David
Princess Mahoney worked on Better Call Saul. Longmire, Roswell.
Not Shameless, huh?
No, she did work on Shameless.
Okay.
She did work on Shameless and on Southland and on ER. She's an AD. She's a first or second AD usually, or a producer. So she doesn't like direct, but she's like first AD.
I do kind of love that John keeps a crew with him everywhere he goes. Like he's got like the people.
I mean, kind of. That's weirdly enough, that is the mark of like a good showrunner.
Yeah.
Not gonna lie, and at least you're making like consistent, pretty like good quality stuff across the board.
West Wing and ER and Shameless, like banger. God.
Yeah. He kind of did it, and Made won a ton of awards. The limited series for Netflix that he did kind of recently. What is he up to now?
Oh, he's definitely actively working on something now.
Oh, I'm sure. I just don't know what it is. It's Rescue High Surf.
Stop.
I forgot he works on Rescue High Surf.
That's awesome.
Yeah, he's the exec producer of that. He also works on The Pit.
Yes, The
which I've
Pit.
heard
Yes,
of.
because
Yes, I've heard of this. I've
because
heard
The
this is
Pit
good.
he was originally pitched as an ER spinoff because it's Noah Wyle. And the estate of Michael Crichton, who is basically the surgeon or the doctor that Noah Wile's character is based off of, said no, you cannot do a spinoff of ER with these characters. So they just renamed the character.
But Noah Wyle is the star.
Noah Wyle is the star, yeah.
This feels a lot like 911 if it was in the hospital. Because it's like
no.
worse.
So the best thing about The Pit, the most fascinating thing about The Pit is that every episode is 1 hour of the shift, and the season is one shift. Like, it's 8 a.m.
Whoa.
So it's like ER.
Yeah.
It's like ER, or not ER, it's like 24.
Yeah.
It's like 24 where they do it in real time.
Yeah, every
That's
episode
cool.
is like 8
I like
a.m.,
that.
9 a.m., 10 a.m., 11 a.m. Like, it's just one shift. Go. This is what happens
The
in
one
an ER.
shift.
That's actually
that's
fucking
cool.
insane.
I like that.
Yeah, it's fucking awesome. It's awesome.
John Wells was also the producer showrunner of the original run of Shameless.
In the UK?
For 6 seasons apparently, or at least that's how he's credited
Fuck.
on IMDb.
Okay.
Which would mean that he was doing it while he was doing ER.
Well,
but
the later
he did a lot of
seasons he
stuff
might
while
have been
was
in
doing
name only in
so-
ER. Yeah. There's a lot
Yep,
toward
The West Wing.
in the last few seasons of ER. There's like 4 more producer names that show up, so he might have been very hands off in the last few seasons.
I forgot that he produced the horror movie 1 Hour Photo,
Oh, yeah.
which is so good. Because I saw his name in the credits at the end, and I was like, "What the fuck?"
What is that one
What are
about?
you
Is that like the
doing here?
Polaroid movie, or
That is
is it like the
Robin
Dark
Williams.
Oh, it's the Robin Williams
Oh,
dark
yeah,
movie.
Yeah,
it's-
so it's he
oh,
runs,
it's when he's like stalking
he
that
runs
family.
The photo
He like
counter.
he puts
So
himself
he runs
in the,
the
family,
photo
right?
counter at. Yeah, he runs the photo counter at the like local like big box store, so like a Walmart, I guess. And this family comes in and gets their photos developed from him like every couple months, and they have like a young son that he gets like really attached to because he's got like no personal life.
Mhm.
So you sort of discover that he's like stalking this family basically, or he's just like obsessed with this family. And then he sort of starts like worming his way in. And then there's something like he finds out that the husband is like cheating on the wife. And then like he kind of decides to take it into his own hands.
Yeah, it's like a
and
very,
there is,
like-
violence involved.
It's like a very out of the norm, very dark Robin Williams movie.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he's freaky in it. He was freaky. Connie Nielsen plays the wife, and she looks so much like Leslie Bibb in this movie. It's kind of tweaking me out. But yeah. 1 Hour Photo, John Wells.
So yeah, and so that shifts us into what this podcast
Our
is about,
friend
which
Shameless.
is Shameless. So sorry. Again, it's been 2 months since we've sat down and done this, and we are friends who miss each other, and we didn't hit record until 20 minutes into our conversation anyway. So
Yeah.
this could have been
Oopsies.
longer. You're welcome. Do you guys want to get into the episode?
Yeah, let's do it.
Yeah, I'd love to.
Lena,
I did
it's
the
all
notes.
you. Yeah.
So do you want? Okay. I wasn't sure.
No, all you.
I
I love not listening
will
to my
say
own
up
voice while we
top-
edit.
I will say up top, like, this. So I was kind of like struggling to get through these notes, and then I looked on IMDb, and I will say, let me look up this. Fuck.
This episode?
Hold on.
Are you looking for
sorry.
like
Cut
what
this,
it's
cut this,
rated?
cut this. I'm looking for because it's in between like 2 8-point somethings, and then this episode's like in comparison, like it's still got a good rating, but in comparison to the last couple episodes that we watched and the next episode that we will watch,
It's a
let's
nothing
see.
sandwich.
This is episode 5.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, this is the run, right? So 703 is an 8.3. 704 is an 8.4. This episode 705 is a 7.9. And episode 6 is an 8.4. Episode 7 is an 8.1. So like it's
not bad.
it's not bad. It just like the run of episodes that we've been on, I was kind of struggling to get through these notes. But like also to be fair, it's just a lot of continuation of storylines that we've already started, but there's not like a conclusion to any of them yet.
Mhm.
Yeah.
we're just sort of like continuing with a lot of stuff.
But this is season
but
7,
we'll get into
episode
it.
5. Own your shit.
Yep, and this aired on October 30th, 2016. It was written by Dominique Morisseau. This is her first of 3 episodes that she writes, but she was on the staff from season 6 to 8, so she was like in the room. So she wrote this one. Well, so I think probably this is weird because I was trying to look at her IMDb, and I was trying to see if she was like a writer's assistant before this or anything like that, but she wasn't. She was just like a staff writer. So, I mean, she was in the room, but for the whole of season 6 and contributed, but like they didn't let her write an episode until 7. So she wrote this one, 804, Fuck Paying It Forward, and 809, The Fugees, like refugees, but the Fugees. She is a University of Michigan alum, like myself.
Hey.
And I think she's also from the area. She's more well known as a playwright, most notably her 3-play cycle, The Detroit Project. And she also wrote the book for the Temptations jukebox musical, and she was nominated for a Tony.
Or Ain't Too Proud.
Wait, whoa, that's cool.
Yeah, I think so. And this episode was directed by Christopher Chulak, who we know. This is his 9th of 11 Shameless episodes.
Sure is.
9/11.
Not 9/11. Not our 911 asses.
Sorry. Getting comfortable. 410, Liver I Hardly Know Her. 501, Milk of the Gods. 509, Carl's First Sentencing. 512, Love Songs in the Key of Gallagher.
Homophobia.
601, I Only Miss Her When I'm Breathing. 604, Going Once, Going Twice. 612, Familia Supergalliglorious Omnia. 701, Hierith. This one. 709, Ouroboros. 11, and then 1112, Father Frank Full of Grace. So he came back to direct the series finale.
Yeah.
Every
time I remember the series finale, I remember that clip of Noel going, "Where's John?"
Because John always directed like the season finales, so that was like really weird that he wasn't there. And then I also just remember really bad like the Frank floating up into the air,
floating into the sky. Please,
yeah,
into the sky.
Yeah. The last episode of ER I just
So-
watched heavily implied one of the grown man characters, saw Santa Claus flying in his sleigh. Heavily implied that at the end of an episode.
This is House MD. Like this is like TV as wow. The synopsis of this episode is Frank discovers who purchased the shelter to save it from destruction. Fiona is offered some financial advice from an unusual source, and Ian finds it difficult to deal with his feelings for Trevor.
Oh, right.
The previously on is done by Lip in the bathroom. I think this one is reused a couple times. Like this one felt familiar to me. He's just like standing in front of the mirror, and he like turns around and says something.
Jeremy probably did a couple
They've done that a
different
couple
line
times.
reads like in the bathroom, and they used a bunch of them.
Yeah, maybe. But they have reused some of them before. Like they've just done them twice. But previously on Shameless, everyone now has to contribute a fixed amount to house expenses. Debbie is struggling to make rent. Svetlana advises her to find a husband. Derek is in the army. And Gabrielle Walsh, Anna Flores, plays
girl.
his sister-in-law.
Hi, Anna.
So Derek is kind of an Eddie Sneak. Fiona and V are beefing. Carl wants to go to military school. Svetlana is in charge of the bar and house finances, and they're in a bad spot. Fiona is inspired by Margot being a landlord, whatever. Trevor is trans. Fiona is Tindering. Frank protested to keep his homeless shelter open and ended up on the news, and Lip's internship is really shady.
You just described Trevor's like entire personality as a character in just one sentence. Trevor is trans. Move on.
He's trans. That's his
Trevor
whole
is
character.
trans, Fiona is Tindering. And literally that is like all they said. Like in the I think in the previously on, it's literally just Trevor being like, I'm packing, I'm trans. Like, that's it. Like that's the whole fucking like, except maybe I can't remember if they show if him and Ian kiss for the first time in this episode, or no, they made out like at the party
At the
or
bar.
whatever.
Yeah.
In the last episode. And I don't remember if they show that in the previously on or not. It's been a while since I wrote these notes. Anyway, we open on Lip fast asleep in Sierra's bed. She has to go get ready for work, and he's like, should I join you? Should I like wait till you get back? And she says, or like wait till she's ready for work. And she says that he should probably leave before her son gets up because she doesn't want to confuse him by like having men in the house. And he seems to be a little bummed by this, but she says like she makes plans to see him at the diner later because I think he's also working.
Yeah.
It's Lip's first day back at his internship since the FBI raid, so he's not really sure what's gonna happen.
Are they at a new location as of now, right?
Uh-huh.
Yeah. And like there's been like the staff has been really cleared out, so Lip has like jumped the hierarchy in a big way. Like now he's head intern. Pretty sure. Well, maybe we'll get to that later. But like Tito, who was in charge of him, I don't think is like at the company anymore, or he's up even higher.
So then he just got bumped up as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. At the homeless shelter, Frank and Dolores are asleep after a drug binge, and they wake up to see construction workers checking out the roof. A woman named Elena has let herself into the house, and she introduces herself as being from a nonprofit located nearby, and she says that she saw the coverage on the news of Frank protesting, and he tries to like, this one felt really shoehorned, he tries to like clear the cot for her to sit on, but he pulls the blanket off the sleeping person to reveal that he's getting like a blowjob. And I was like, wowzer. The hilarious thing is that it's pretty obvious that he's getting blown before Frank even tries to remove the blanket. Anyway, a real estate mogul, Mr. Epstein.
Woof.
And I'm not gonna lie, I think this might have been before all of the stuff about Jeffrey Epstein came out.
100%. This is 2016.
What? 2016?
Yeah.
I don't know. The Jeffrey Epstein stuff came out.
It might have been before it broke,
longer
but
ago
like
than we
people
think.
knew.
But it was common knowledge. Like it was, let's see, Jeffrey Epstein. When did that break? Well, he died in 2019, but when was he like in prison? So when was
this might have been like right
arrested?
before. If he died in 2019,
There
he was
was a
arrested
second-
in,
I feel like all that shit went down in 2019, 2018.
Well, it was public knowledge because he did go to trial several times before the big case.
Yeah.
And the big case was in 2019.
With the island.
Well, no, because the Ghislaine Maxwell, the Virginia Giuffre versus Ghislaine Maxwell was 2015.
Oh shit.
And then there was a Jane Doe versus Epstein and Trump in 2016. And then there were multiple cases after that because people just kept coming forward.
So this was
obviously
so on purpose that they named a character Epstein and was like, he just got exposed for being a sex pest.
I do think, yeah. So, on my birthday, August 9th, that's crazy. Was the day that 2,000 pages of the previously sealed documents from the case were released. And that was, so this case started, the Ghislaine Maxwell, the big case, started in 2015, and Epstein went to prison. And they settled in 2017. But then they opened the case back up in 2019, and then Epstein died in prison the day after my birthday. So that's crazy. Anyway, they named him Mr. Epstein probably on purpose. I really want that Epstein case from the beginning of this season of 911 to come back around.
Yeah.
I just am like, we dropped that bomb and then we didn't do anything else with it. So that's,
I fucking forgot about that. I literally took me a second. I was like, what are you talking about?
Yeah.
Yeah, they literally just like smushed that in between the plane crash.
Yeah, I totally forgot about the dude that like helped Athena like bust the other dude or whatever. Damn.
Yeah.
He took a bullet for Bobby.
Well, yeah, that was the drama. It was who he was. But yeah.
Goddamn.
Anyway, so Mr. Epstein, who was just exposed for being a sex pest, purchased the house and is donating it to the shelter. The nonprofit is going to manage the property, and corporate companies want to sponsor it, and it's now public housing. And Epstein is supposed to come by later that day to take a photo with him and his family, quote unquote.
Mm-hmm.
But the nonprofit is sort of like deferring to Frank on how to help. Like they ask him like, what do you need? Even though they're supposed to be managing the property. Meanwhile, Fiona is getting fucked crazy style all over her room by a tall bald guy.
Oh yeah, she was.
Good for her.
Dicked down.
Like that was crazy. I was like, damn, okay. She immediately tries to kick him out afterwards, and he's a little offended, and she apologizes. She's like, I'm sorry, I'm just really busy running a business. I'm trying to save up my chips. And then he's like, well, if you were a real businesswoman, you'd stack chips, not save them. and then he hands her a card. It turns out he's a financial
Well,
consultant.
the funniest part is she goes like, he says that, she's like, what are you, my financial
my
consultant?
finance guy? And then he's like, hands her a card, and then she's like, you're a financial consultant? And he's like, yeah. And he offers to book her a consultation appointment and then just like leaves. He was kind of cool. I was into him. I was like, this guy is like kind of awesome.
One shot wonder.
Yeah.
And then a group kitchen scene. Wee.
Woo.
Downstairs, Fiona is changing over the laundry when the washer craps out. And they do mention that it was from Jimmy Steve. She's like, yeah, the washer that Jimmy bought us, or Jimmy Steve bought us.
9 years later,
Jimmy
finally
Steve.
shutting down.
The washer, the last remaining memory of Jimmy Steve. And Ian, this was actually silly because the washer starts making like a weird noise, and Ian like peeks his head around the corner downstairs. And he's like, what's that? What's the noise? And Liam says that Fiona broke the washer, but she needs to do laundry before work. So Ian suggests that she call V and use her washer, but Fiona's like, well, we're in a fight and we're likely on the outs, which it's like, no, Fiona, that's not
Girl,
true.
it's not
like,
the
it
end of
doesn't
the
have to be
world.
true. Just like talk to her. Well, she's like convinced that they're never going to get past this like fight that they have. And it's like, okay. The unfortunate thing is like, you don't know the end of the storyline, so I can't even say, but like, Fiona does end up being right, but I really wish she wasn't. Carl comes downstairs with a shirt to throw in, and they tell him about the broken washer. So now everybody's like filing into the kitchen. He's supposed to wash it for his military school interview though, and they all give him shit about his GPA. And even Ian is like, military school? Even Ian, who's Mr. Military, is like, military school? Like, I don't know. But Carl says that Dom's dad wrote him like a really good rec letter. Lip comes in and they tell him about the washer as well, and then they bring up that Jimmy bought it, and she goes, I should have known it would never last. And I said, well, not too much on my girlfriend Jimmy Steve. On my girlfriend with her cute butt. Like, come on. And Lip said, I guess you're just gonna have to date another shithead con artist, huh? Lip, don't act like you weren't stealing cars with Jimmy Steve, or that you're not like actively a shithead con artist right now.
Yeah.
And Fiona says that somebody else is responsible for calling and getting it repaired. Like, she's like, I'm not dealing with this. Like, you guys fucking deal with this. And Carl still wants to wash his shirt, so Fiona recommends the sink.
Yeah.
Old fashioned.
Lip asks where... She's just being, like, very curt with all of them, which I don't think is a bad thing, but I feel like she's overcompensating.
Yeah, like, you can, in fact, help them out with the washer dryer. Like, you use it too.
Or just, like, you don't have to be, like, there's the sink, because she's going to the laundromat. Like, it's like, she's, you know, like, I think she's overcompensating with this, like, I'm on my own, you know, not taking care of the family thing, to where it's, like, sort of, I don't know, not, like, actively not setting them up for success to operate without her. And I think, and obviously she's doing it because she's insecure on her own about her own place in the world.
Yeah.
And you know, she wants to be just like Margot, and she wants to be like,
it's one of those things where she let her fuse went out before she could be able to be like, all right, I need you guys to step up. And she's like, nope, just do it yourself.
Right, exactly. Lip asks where Debbie is, and Fiona says that she's probably avoiding her because she doesn't have the money. And Ian's like, you are being cunty. Oh, Ian. Like this bitch.
I love bitchy Ian.
He's like, well, you are being he's like, well, you are being cunty about it. And then Lip backs Ian up and says that, like, Debbie really thinks that Fiona's going to evict her. And Fiona's like, well, I might. But then and then she, like, goes to leave. And then on her way out, she tells someone else to take Liam to daycare while she goes to the laundromat. And I wrote, Fee, what's crazy is that they have Debbie do pretty much this exact thing, dump a kid on the group, in season 11 when Frank ends up taking Franny to school, and Debbie, like, freaks out about it.
Also, Fiona,
so it's just like,
Liam is the one responsibility you should not be dropping on them.
That you do have.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's like, and it's also just like, I have a weird, difficult relationship with Debbie as a character.
Yeah.
Because the more my life goes on, the more I actually have a lot of empathy for her and how crazy she is. Because I'm like, oh, you had, like, a really effed up life, actually. But, like, yeah, like, Debbie does this same thing with
She
Franny later, and then she
freaks
freaks
out.
out because it ends up being Frank, who like doesn't even take her to school. But then everyone shits on her and is like, "You're a terrible mom. Like, you left your kid, you just told everybody to take your kid to daycare or to school or whatever, and you didn't actually make sure that anybody said yes, and so you're a shitty mom." And Debbie's like, but Debbie's just following in what Fiona
that she
does.
was taking care of
Like-
Liam when she was literally like 10 years old. Like, if anything, lesser and quiet, like lesser educated people were taking care of a fucking child than like leaving them with anyone else.
Yeah.
Right. Like, it's just like, I think that the point of it is that I think we are sometimes a little too
Yeah.
hard on Debbie when it comes to certain things. Because it's like, there's some shit that she does, especially in this episode, she pisses me off. There's some shit that she does that is like pretty irredeemable. At the end of the day, like,
Yeah.
she wasn't the worst mom in
Yeah.
the world. Like, she cared. She cared a lot. Meanwhile, at the Ball household, the family is all having breakfast together. Svet and V are sitting at the table. Kev's entertaining the babies. Yvonne is cooking. And V asks how the finances are coming. And Svet says that they're better, but they just need to get the money from the regulars who haven't been paying their tabs. Kev is really excited that they're making money. He gives fist bumps to the babies, but Svet says, well, we're actually just breaking even. And she looks really good at
She
this.
really
I
fucking
had to read
does.
about that. So V wonders if they can claim each other's kids on tax returns because they're like married now and they can get more money back. And Svet says, well, they would have to adopt each other's kids and they'd save money and become a more legal family. But where does that leave Kev? And Kev is also there.
Yeah. That's what I always wonder.
Well, Kev's like,
They don't make it clear in this episode if Kev has to relinquish his parental rights in order for these adoptions to happen.
I don't think so because Kev and V aren't married legally. So I think Svetlana can just pick up parental rights.
But they
Because
are
then it can be
his
like
children.
a step parent thing. Yeah, but then it's like it's sort of the parental rights of like a
Mhm.
step parent. You
Yeah.
know? I think there's probably some sort of like caveat with this where it's like, oh, there can be a step parent and then the two biological parents as well.
Yeah.
Especially if they live in a household together, because I feel like it's more about the household, right? And the joint finances and less about like
Yeah.
the marriage.
Yeah.
Because two people can claim the same dependent on a tax return if they're both parents. We saw this in 911, where their taxes got really complicated because they weren't married, but they were both claiming. Oh no,
they got in
can't.
trouble
That's
because
the
they
thing.
both claimed
They were
her.
both trying to
G.
claim.
Yeah.
They were both claiming G on their tax return, and they got audited because they're not married. But if they were married, they could both claim. But
Yeah,
that's
because
they're
that's
filing
literally
as
what they
joint
say at the
households.
end.
Yeah.
That
Taxes
one
are
dude,
so
she goes,
complicated, you
now
guys.
what you do next year is get married.
Yeah. So I
Yeah,
very
so
much.
I don't think Kev would have to relinquish parental rights. I think he wouldn't be able to claim the babies as dependents on his taxes. But all of Kev's finances are joint with V anyway, even if not legally. So it's like it wouldn't really matter for him in the long run, I don't think.
Yeah. I just never knew if like a parent's new spouse wanted to adopt you, if your other parent had to give up their rights in order for that other
Yeah.
person to adopt you.
No, I don't think they would have to. I can't see why they would like have to give it up. Why the state would be like, you can only have two.
Only two.
Yes. Yeah.
If it's not like the state's paying out, if the state's not like paying out money because they have more than one parent claiming as a dependent.
But
like,
I don't think more.
they
I
would
don't
care.
think more than two though.
I don't think more parents is a problem for people. It's not a problem most people have. Yvonne comes over to deliver their food and he comments that Kev stinks. He also fucked the eggs up badly. And Svetlana lies and says that Yvonne said good morning to them. It's just like, again, showing that like there is a language barrier here of like Svetlana and Yvonne know things or can communicate without Kevin V knowing.
Yeah.
Is sort of like what they're doing here. And Kev makes eyeballs with the eggs to make the kids laugh.
He's very cute.
It is very cute.
He's so good with those babies.
Back at the Gallagher house, Debbie peeks down the stairs to see if Fiona's still home, and Ian says that, or Debbie peeks down the stairs to see if Fiona's still home, and Ian tells her that she isn't. I wrote that she is, but she isn't.
No.
But that she does know that Debbie is avoiding her. And Ian says, well, she's not really going to kick you out. And Debbie's like, well, she's a bitch, and she absolutely would. And then they're talking about Franny, and she calls her Harry. And I was like, right, we're still doing that. We're still calling Franny Harry. I forgot about that.
Because we're so mad at Frank.
So Ian offers to loan her the rest of the money for bills, but she tells him that she owes $372. And he like, I don't understand this acting choice. This acting choice made me laugh really hard because he goes from like 0 to 60. And he's like, you owe $372. What is that, baby formula made out of caviar or something? Like, he like yells.
He's pissed.
He like yells at her.
He's like, what do you mean you
And then
have
she's
$3 for your rent?
Right, exactly. And then she says that she'll get the money, and Ian insists that Fiona won't kick her out. Like, he's trying to, like, calm her down, but he's actually not that sure about it. Over to the homeless shelter, they have hot water, gas, and electric now, and Dolores and Frank celebrate. Frank rallies the attendants, lets everybody know the good news, but he says that they have to keep stocked, like food, money, whatever, so they should all still go begging.
Yeah.
And the cinematography here was really interesting because the camera like follows Frank around really closely the whole time. It made me like kind of uncomfortable. Maybe that's the point. Then back at the ball house, Kev is in the shower while he and V talk about the throuple, and he feels like he's still a third wheel, especially since they're married to each other, which is like a crazy dynamic to go with because usually in stuff like this, it's the two women like fawning over the man, but they're both fawning over V.
Yeah.
Which I was like, yes,
Yeah.
like, yay.
This is an actual love triangle throuple situation that doesn't exist in media.
Well, and it's fun because like in actuality, like Kev and Svet are attracted to each other, but they don't have like feelings for each other.
No,
really.
but they'll fuck.
I think it's that they both have the feelings for Veronica that is the basis of their relationship as well.
Yeah.
And V tries to defend it, saying that it'll be good for the girls and that Svet can take care of the girls if anything were to ever happen to them. And Kev points out that it used to be that like that was going to be Fiona's job. And then I said, okay, well, let's be serious here. 1, Fiona probably wouldn't be able to take on 2 young twin girls. 2, what the hell happened to Carol?
Carol wouldn't take it on.
Her mother.
Carol wouldn't take it on.
Carol wouldn't take it on. But like, I just feel like it's like, you didn't like your mom. I feel like over Fiona's got a lot to deal with. She's got more kids than Carol. Carol has the son that they had together, but like
that's the same age as the girls too.
Right, but which would be difficult. But still,
this is your brother cousin.
Well, V are right, exactly.
So fucking weird.
V argues back, and Kev says that like her and Fiona just need to get over their fight, but V is really stubborn and wants the girls adopted by Svetlana, so Kev gives in. Then we go over to Carl, who is trying to hit on the woman giving his military school interview, but she's a lesbian, and she's also not in the business of hitting on kids. Unfortunately, according to her, they're at capacity this year. All 75 slots are full. So she suggests that he reapply the next year, but he points out that the brochure says that there's 100 students in each class. And like when I was watching this is where the moment where I remembered what happens.
In this episode, yep.
The
ending is so fucking funny.
It's so good. So she says that the remaining 25 are reserved for students of color. And he says, obviously, I'm part black because of Liam. And she calls bullshit on this, but like he is. But also he is, and he looks like Bill Macy, like he's Frank's twin, but like he never got tested for his paternity. So we don't actually know, but we can assume.
But he is working off the knowledge of like there is this gene in my family. My biological brother is black. 2 + 2, 4.
Right.
Yeah.
So that's what. Yeah, 4.
Yeah.
So she calls bullshit on this, and then she sends him off, and he storms out. At the laundromat, Fiona tries to chat up Etta, who is more than a little senile. This is the first time we've met Etta, right?
This is the first time we met Etta. I did recognize this actress.
She was in Glee.
June Squibb.
It's June Squibb. It's June
She was
Squibb.
in Glee.
Yeah.
She recent?
June Squibb.
She's still alive, isn't she?
Who is? I think.
She just had a movie recently.
this year. Yeah.
Yeah, she's still alive, which is crazy.
She was born in
She's
1929.
She was in season 5 of Glee and Old Dogs, 95. New Tricks.
Oh my god, she was in In and Out.
Who's she in In and Out?
Anyway.
She was in American Horror Story for an episode. Yeah, she had a movie, Thelma, that came out last year.
Okay.
She's like a Broadway star from back in the day, isn't she? Like, she was killing it when she was, like, younger.
Yeah.
Yeah. Toy Story 4, Hubie Halloween with Adam Sandler.
She has 100
Inside Out
acting
2.
credits. She has 100 acting credits on IMDb.
She was freaking working.
Yeah.
She was on ER.
Yep.
She was on House. She was on Curb.
I think she's in 911.
Office.
She has 3 in process.
She was on Girls and Glee.
I
also
in
think she was on 911. She was on Grey's Anatomy, Good Girls, The Good Doctor. No, she was not. It's not on her. It's not on her Wikipedia. Anyway, yeah, she's been around. Yeah, so we meet Etta, who's more than a little senile, and there's like 50 cats around. Some of the machines are broken. People are using slugs instead of real quarters, so it's like fucking it up. And Fiona suggests that they get swipe cards instead so she doesn't have to deal with the quarters. But Etta tells Fiona to take that up with the new owners, but it's unlikely that they're going to keep it as a laundromat. And Fiona's like, what? Yeah, it turns out that the developers who have been going around have gone to Etta and want to buy the property, but she told them to fuck off. But she thinks that she might have to sell because the laundromat is too much to run on her own since her husband Wendell died. Yeah, it's called Wendell's, by the way, the laundromat. And Fiona is like, well, you could stay in business if you just update. But Etta's like too old for that. And another patron complains about the cats, but Etta says that Etta like yells at her, and then she's like, these new people just don't get the south side. Like, because this patron's like, there's cat hair all over my clothes now. Like,
I think she also,
and she's like,
I think this inspires and scares Fiona a little bit because Etta's like, she doesn't get it, not like us lifers. And Fiona like doesn't love the idea
like,
of being a lifer.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like that, but she's also like, Fiona knows how to like adapt to the gentrification. So, over to Lip's internship, employees are working from laptops on the floor, and he's assigned to restock the office with supplies and desks, coffee machines, and scanners. And he asks if Lip is writing this down, and there's like a really great gag here where Lip pulls out his pack of cigarettes and starts writing on it. I loved that.
That's
I thought
great.
that was so charming. And oh yeah, so it is Tito. So Tito's like, I've been promoted, so you're now promoted, and you're the senior intern, and you get to hire a new you, is basically what he says. Back at the homeless shelter, people are returning their begging money while others make signs, and Frank does the intake. Debbie comes in with Frary. Yeah, I wrote Frary because I was like, it's Franny. But she's still calling her Frary. And she asks him how to make money quickly. And I had to take a second because the baby that's playing Franny is looking at Bill Macy so sweetly with these big round eyes, because he picks up the baby, or he's like, let me hold the baby, and Bill Macy is apparently great with babies, just based on the show and like all the babies that he handles, but she's looking at him with these big round eyes and I was like crying. It was so sweet. If you're listening to this episode and you can go watch this clip real quick, like just skip to this part in the episode and just watch that part, because this baby, oh my god. Anyway,
I love when babies in TV shows are also like clearly looking at the boom mic or something, like
the camera or something. And it's like, right, because you're a baby, you don't know. You don't know that you're in a show. Anyway, he refuses to give her advice and she begs. And then he brings over new Dan, the little boy, to rub it in her face. And Debbie tries to invoke Harry, but Frank doesn't care. And so Debbie offers to change her name back to Franny, and Frank caves. And then he picks up the baby. Yes, and then he picks up the baby. He's like, come here! And he picks her up. He suggests prostitution. She doesn't want to. So he suggests begging with Franny to really capitalize on the single white teen mom thing. Outside of like the homeless shelter, basically.
Yeah,
Well,
it's
because
like
the whole
a
shelter's
block
down the
down.
street from the Gallagher house.
Yeah.
Ian runs up to meet Trevor, who's come to deliver a bunch of stuff because one of his teens from the shelter is moving in. So Ian meets Gia, who is the one moving in.
That's
and
a
she
grown
does
woman.
not look like a teenager at all.
No.
But, and I
Fully
was
grown woman.
racking up. And she compliments Ian on Trevor's behalf, like she's like, he's a good one or something. She says something like cute and polite, like, and Ian blushes. She's like, Trevor, like, good going. Ian blushes. He also immediately
So
misgenders Gia, which is
unnecessary.
crazy because, like,
That's a woman. That's a woman.
I'm not gonna lie, that's a woman, and like in the most like I don't know. I hope this comes off right or whatever. This is so stupid. But I like looked up the actress because I was like, is she trans? Like I was curious because like she's a.
The show was going out of their way for Ian being like, oh, that's a man.
To misgender her.
And what do you mean?
She passed extremely well.
There was
like
no
I was
context
like,
or
this
indication that
anyway.
she would have been like LGBT because it's Trevor going to that homeless shelter, not even like one of his.
Well, Trevor, no. Well, Trevor runs an LGBT shelter, and he's moving Gia because there's no room. But there's no indication that she would be trans.
No, that's what I'm saying. Like, there's no indication like he's moving her into a different shelter too. So like, I don't know. I don't know. They did it on purpose. It was it was intentional.
Yeah. So
Remember,
Trevor, this is the opportunity for Trevor. Right. I was like, this is an opportunity for Trevor to do woke education on Ian again. Where he's like, Ian, we don't say that. And then he says that Frank is a local hero. Oh, but he doesn't know because Ian says that Frank is a Frank, not a dad, and his proper pronoun is it. Because I think Trevor says something like her proper pronoun is she, and then Ian's like, well, Frank's proper pronoun is it.
Kind of ate with
which,
that.
like, transphobic, maybe. A little funny, yeah.
Yeah.
It is just so crazy that, like, they were trying to do Mickey too a little bit with Trevor. In a weird way, like they gave him the same like kind of like quick temper, but none of the charm.
Yep. Well,
like,
that's on the actor
parts,
too.
Mickey.
So.
Yeah, but like it's definitely a lot on the writing. The fact that he met Monica and like hung out with her without Ian,
and
Mickey
like
would
had
never
the
fuck
nerve
So
to say to
weird.
Ian that Ian needed to get over it or forgive her. Like, you don't know this
You
woman,
don't know
actually.
shit, dude.
Mickey would never fucking do
Never.
that. Like
Never.
never. And the fact that he never met Monica on screen is crazy as well. But I can have my problem.
Oh, I've
with that
decided
later.
that he sold her coke at some point. Like, I know that Malkovich
Oh,
has
I'm
met
sure.
Monica
I'm sure
Gallagher.
they've crossed
Yeah.
paths. I'm sure they've crossed paths, but he never met her like as Ian's partner.
Yeah, no.
I don't think. So Ian and Trevor make plans to hang out later that night. Sorry, did you have something
No,
to
that's
say?
what I was going to say. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah, Ian and Trevor make plans to hang out later that night. And Fiona is downtown at the real estate office, and she walks in on Chad, I think is his name. Margot's like
Sure.
secondhand guy.
Might as well be Chad.
Chad. I think that's his name. Jamming out to music in her office, and Margot's out. But Fiona reports that Patsy's is doing great, and because Patsy's is doing so great, she wants to renegotiate her pay. Because she's running the whole fucking thing. Like, they were gonna close it, and now she's, like, running the whole thing. And he laughs in her face and says that she has to own something to make real money. So she asks for an additional $50 a week, but he refuses that too, and she storms out. At the law office, the lawyer asks questions about the dynamic between V, Svet, and Kev. Like, they're putting together the adoption paperwork. And Svetlana mentions Mickey. # jailbird. She's like, my stupid jailbird husband. She's like, well, my stupid jailbird husband doesn't need parental rights because he's in jail and he sucks.
Yeah. He's also probably not even the dad.
It actually hurts my heart really bad to know that, like, this entire fucking time, like, season 6 to the end of season 7, Mickey was in jail in Chicago.
Yeah.
And no one went and saw him. Like,
So
Well,
deserve that.
according to what happens at the end of this season, somebody visited him a few times because it's on a visitor's log.
yeah, but I think that no, though the implication is that the implication there is that Ian went with Svetlana a couple times, like over the between season 5 and 6.
Yeah.
And then when we see him in season 6, when he goes in the first episode, he says something like, because he refuses at first, and he tells her like, I'm not going with you again. And then she goes, well, he won't see me unless you come. So she pays him the money. I would like to think that, like, in a beautiful, perfect world between seasons 5 and 6, and it makes it all the more sad, I would like to think that, like, Ian and Mickey sort of, like...
wrote letters?
No, like, I think the first couple times when he saw him, maybe after the initial, like, the episode wore off and Ian got back on meds or whatever, even though he's still struggling, I feel like there was probably some sort of apology there. Because to make Mickey so certain, like, for Mickey to be so certain that Ian would come back to him after he escaped, there's got to be something that happened in those first couple visits between them. And then when Ian is like, I can't come like, I can't do this anymore, like, because I don't want to be a fucking prison wife.
Yeah.
Or, like, you know, come up on the weekends to see you. And then he mentions, like, you're in here for 8 years, and Mickey tries to be like, well, it'll be whatever with overcrowding. Like, and I also just don't think, I feel like, I know Mickey's a crazy girl, but I feel like if Ian really had been so cold and didn't refuse to see him and talk to him those first couple times he went with Svetlana before we saw in the episode, I don't think Mickey would have done the tattoo.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree.
I don't know. I feel like there had to have been something that would have given him the hope that, like, that would have been a thing to keep Ian around. Because I just like Mickey had to have been like, okay, Ian still has feelings for me. This breakup is, like, less about me and more about how fucked up his own life is. And then the breakup becomes, you're in prison for 10 years, 15 years or whatever. Anyway. Oh, Ian and Mickey. And they got out, and they did it.
And they got
out, and they won.
Buddy, you're next.
It's amazing, actually. It really is.
Buddy, you clue on Jeopardy. You're next.
That was
crazy.
Oh, we didn't even talk about that. That's crazy.
And in the same panel as Destiel, too.
And Destiel was like, fans were hoping that it would be canon or something like that. And then the Buddy was like, fans are waiting.
Yeah. It's not like a will it.
Waiting is
not
crazy.
Will when or something. It was like they fluffed. It was like interesting.
It was instead. It was like it wasn't. It was Destiel was fans were hoping that this couple would get together, and it was Destiel.
And then Buddy was waiting.
And then
Buddy is fans are waiting.
Buddy was fans have been waiting.
Yeah.
Which is
no, because
sorry, that's
I
crazy.
tweeted because I was like crazy that it's not wanting, but they do like waiting. I was like, what waiting?
And we're waiting.
I made this tweet like the last week, and I was like, they're like Pavloing by just getting us so acquainted with Buddy that when it happens, we're all gonna be like, wait a second, I remember hearing about that. That's crazy.
Like, yeah. Like, oh yeah.
Oh
no,
yeah.
yeah,
You mean the question on Jeopardy? Yeah.
Yeah.
Colin Jost said it. Yeah.
Colin Jost.
Cam, I need to send you some edits that friends of mine have made because they've been getting me back in Galavich World. I might have to go back there.
I've been getting a lot
soon,
of Galavich on my Twitter and on my Blue Sky. A lot of Galavich recently.
I'm gonna send you a couple, but I can't right now because I have too many 911 episodes downloaded to my computer for Buck like me, for Wolf like me, that I don't have the storage to get Galavich scenes right now. But I'm cooking something in my head. Don't worry, guys.
Don't
something
worry.
will happen. Anyway, back to Shameless, I guess. This lawyer is fascinated by the situation, their throuple thing, and she's really excited to work on their case. But they need to get all of the healthcare records for themselves and the children. And Kev freaks out a little at the mention of vaccines. I forget that this was in the height of anti-vax discourse. Because Trump was pretty anti-vax. But pre-COVID, which is interesting.
It's almost like there's a correlation.
Then we go back to Carl. Right. Then we go back to Carl, who goes over to Luther's house to report that he didn't get into military school, and he tells him about the 25% student of color reservation spot. And so he asks Luther to vouch for his blackness, but Luther thinks that that's really dumb. And he's like, I'm not gonna help you.
But like, I think Carl even
Meanwhile,
has
Debbie-
like the DNA proof in his. Oh no, they go for the DNA proof. Yeah.
No, he doesn't. They go together. Well, he's just like, you've met my brother. Well, I think he's like, you've met my brother Liam. Like, you know I'm black. And then Luther's like, but I'm not gonna like vouch for your
Yeah, I'm
blackness,
not gonna just say you are.
Well, I don't think he brings it up, but I feel like he's sort of like black is like also an identity, like not just a,
a piece of your DNA. Yeah.
It's about, your social surroundings and how you were raised. But meanwhile, Debbie is begging on the corner, and she gets handed some brochures by Mormons. She gets looked down upon by other moms. She's crossed by some nuns. A homeless man donates her a bottle of alcohol, which she tosses. Like, it's a filler scene.
Yeah. It's a lot of Debbie.
At work. Yeah, a lot of Debbie. At work, Ian is frantically trying to wipe off a puke stain from a patient. They've had a super busy shift. And Sue invites him out to drinks after work, but he declines because he's going out with Trevor. And she says that him and Trevor should go slow, or that he might slash the rig's tires. And he insists that, like, no, they're just platonic. And she calls bullshit and says that there's no such thing as platonic, but he still insists that they're just friends, and his phone chimes at the same time. It's a text from Trevor inviting him to a party. Yeah, so they haven't made out yet.
Yeah.
They have not made out yet. Nothing's happened. They've been platonic, but there's been tension.
Oh yeah, they were just groping. They were just groping before. Yeah.
They were grinding, because Ian is, like, clearly into him, but he's also, like, doesn't know what to do because he's trans. Which, coming off of, like, that one, like, side plot that they had in that episode where Ian, like, slept with a woman, I feel like this is a really interesting thing. Like, I don't know.
Well,
I
you
kind
said
of do
when they were doing
them.
that they were setting him up for this by doing that.
Yeah, and, like, I do kind of commend them for, like, establishing the fact that, like, Ian sleeping with a woman and not being attracted to it does not invalidate his gayness in being with a trans man who is a man. Like, I liked that aspect of it, even if we had to, like, do, like, baby's first trans guy vocab lesson with Ian. But also, like, I guess when you think about it, that is something, even nowadays, that, like, the general population does need education in. Maybe they didn't have to be so crude about it, but this is Shameless, so of course they're gonna be.
My favorite thing in fandom
honestly,
spaces is when there's, like, the characters like Buck and Eddie, or like Cass and Dean, that we forever were like, so you know that they're gay and they're in love with each other, and there's so much pushback about it that there develops a secondary part in the fan base that goes, oh, by the way, they're trans too. Fuck you.
No, literally, that happened, like, a couple weeks ago. By the way, they're trans, so fuck you. I also don't get the discourse of, like, when people do, like, femme buddy, and then people are like, why don't you just read Henren? And it's like, well, the dynamic is not the same.
Yeah, no.
Like, the point is, first of all, like, I'm gonna say this right now, and it's gonna be a little controversial, and, like, this doesn't discount how, like, if Buddy goes canon, how great it's gonna be, and how awesome, like, the fic and everything is gonna be. But, like, the beauty of Buddy at this moment is that they are not together. There is a million infinite possibilities and ways to imagine them getting together. That is why people are so into it.
Yeah. I
tension.
also fully believe I can draw a direct line from the fascination of Buck being in, like, pink lace panties now in fan art and fandom, to Dean Winchester admitting to wearing pink lace panties in that one episode, season 5, episode 4 of Supernatural.
It's a circle. It's a
Ooh.
circle. It's always been a circle.
I know I wasn't there for, like, for the past, years. But, like, people have said, because there's been a lot of, like, weird, the top bottom discourse is so fucking stupid to me. Just so we're all clear, is that I don't
like,
care.
Shameless drew a clear line with these two fuckers.
Shameless was like, Shameless was like, they have preferences. But, like, I don't see the point in arguing about it. But I also, like, it's really interesting, because from what I've, like, heard from historians is that it was, the general consensus was, like, Buck is the bottom. that used to be the general consensus, and only now has it sort of like switched.
No,
call
because
bullshit
Eddie
on
has
that
always
entirely.
had that ass. Eddie has always had that ass.
Like, that's what I'm saying.
You can't own that thing and not
It's also like
use it. Are you kidding me?
I may
sorry.
see that as like the Eddie masculinity of it all. Like that subsection may have existed. But yeah, no, he's always
well, and
had
that's
an
what
ass
people
like
are
that.
pushing back on. That's what people are pushing back on is they're like, you only like Bottom Buck because you want Eddie to be the mask. And it's like, actually
no.
Okay, sure. I'm sure some people subconsciously think that. But like, I just feel like, well, first of all, who cares?
I'm a verse truther. Like, yeah.
As long as someone's getting filled, I'll be happy.
And I'll say this. And I'll say this, like, I'm a verse truther because I think that they're platonic, which I know, like, platonic dynamics don't always lend themselves to sex dynamics. Sure, why not? But this is also fiction land. We can make up anything we want. I think that the beauty of their friendship and their dynamic is that there is this really nice push and pull between them. And this, like, exchange of power constantly in their friendship. Of, like, who's bossing the other one around, who's taking care of the other one. Like, I think that there's this really nice push and pull that they have with each other that I think would lend itself to other areas of their relationship.
Absolutely.
Ding, ding, ding.
Poisonally.
Yep.
Absolutely.
And also, like, if you're doing this, like, I'm sorry, but if you're doing this on network, you're not going to be... You're going to be...
This isn't Showtime, so you're not going to explicitly be like, I'm a bottom.
Like, right, they're not going to be... Eddie is not going to be Miggy up against the truck, humping and yelling about how much he likes to give up. Okay? Like,
not the same
happen.
type of show, guys. Sorry, unfortunately.
They're not even going to limp.
They're going to be like... They're going to make ambiguous jokes, like, at best.
Yeah. Someone's going to ask Eddie if the fire hose rumor is true, and he's going to wink or something.
Yeah, like, sure, why not? But even then, it's like, I don't know, the show has just moved so far away from sex lately that
That's why I'm like, I don't, like, as much as I want it.
Are they even going to have sex?
Are they going to do it, though? We're not going to see frauding on television. Like, we're not going to get that.
Well, of course not.
I once again remind you, for not only the lesbian hot sex that they've shown on Grey's Anatomy, or the straight hot sex, they have shown gay hot sex on Grey's Anatomy.
I'm not denying that, but what have we been given on fucking 911 so far? Just some dry humping? That's about it.
I once again remind you.
Yeah.
I'm not hating on dry humping.
I once again remind you, guys, they're not even canon yet.
Shut up! Shut the hell up. They are to me.
I'm sorry. I got caught up in a world where Buddie was canon. I got caught up in a world where it was already true.
It has been for the last 100 days for me. In my brain.
In my brain, for sure. Because I'm like, well, that's where the storyline's going. Okay? But
okay,
I'm playing chess against a dog. At the internship, and I'm gonna lose. At the internship, Lip is working on getting everyone back on the Wi-Fi, like the server network, and Lip watches Dylan. Okay, so it wasn't Tito. It was this guy Dylan. I guess Tito disappeared. Lip watches Dylan log into the network for him. And he's in charge of giving everyone temporary passwords. And then Lip asks about the business structure since they've been raided. Apparently, getting shut down by the FBI is budgeted into their business plan. And now that there's less staff, Lip is like, okay, so can I get paid? And Dylan just doesn't even answer this because one of the co-owner's dogs, the Pomeranian, has to be taken to the groomer. So then Lip stares forlornly at a 3-photo spread of the dog. But the short answer is you will not be getting paid. At the alibi, Kev is doing some reading on vaccines, and V suggests to Svet that they all adopt one last name since they're going to be new parents, and V suggests that they all take Kev's last name. And Veronica says, great, we'll all be balls. Kermit overhears this and asks if she's pregnant, and V tells him that they're adopting each other's kids. And then Tommy makes fun of this. Tommy. Kev asks if the kid... Well, yes. Kev asks if the kids should get the MMR vaccine, and V points out that it might be linked to autism. And I forgot that this was like
Jenny fucking McCarthy coming out. Jenny McCarthy did this.
That this was like a huge thing. Yeah. And then as she says this, Shanola like absolutely fumbles pouring this beer. She pours this beer that's like half foam and like foams over the glass like hella.
They never give a fuck about their pours.
And I was just kind of laughing. Like, I was like, well, I was surprised that they had, well, I guess I wasn't surprised that they had like real taps in there, but I was sort of laughing because she just like fumbled pouring that beer. But Svet says that in Russia, they just send the babies out to nap in the cold, which is true. I know that they do this in Norway and Sweden, probably Finland as well. But I think that they also do vaccines. Like, I don't think it's just
yeah. They don't only put them in the cold. They definitely probably vaccinate them, but also to help their immune systems and like to deal with the.
But that is something.
Yeah, to regulate cold temperatures. Like, yeah, is real. Yes.
Yeah.
Just reading.
Kev questions the concept.
What's happening?
What?
I'm just reading your next line.
Oh, yeah. Kev questions the concept of vaccines and decides that the government is trying to give the baby syphilis, and then Tommy calls vaccines gay, which he would, because he is gay, lest we forget that him and Kermit hooked up in season 11 in the bathroom, high on the weed brownies.
To be clear,
Gaybo.
Lena has in parentheses,
to be clear,
in all caps, you would, Gaybo.
Gaybo.
Like, he would say that. And Kermit exclaims that vaccines are the best invention ever. And then they bicker about that.
Kiss
and this
about
is their
it.
foreplay,
Yeah.
I've decided. This is their foreplay. Their entire relationship was foreplay, and then they hooked up in the bathroom. Which was so fucking weird, but I loved it. I was obsessed with it, actually.
Man,
I was like, fuck it, everybody gay now. Fuck it, they're gay now. Like, sure. Svetlana suggests that they sort of like experiment and they give vaccines to some of the kids, but not all of them. And everyone seems like kind of satisfied with this idea. Oh my God, I just hit the mic. At the homeless shelter, Frank finishes his meeting with the millionaire. Like, I don't know how much this guy's worth. But it seems to have gone well. And the guy offers anything he needs. And Frank brings up the idea of a new TV to keep them off drugs, of course. And he then asks for a bunch of other stuff, and the guy agrees. Ooh. And he asks which ones are Frank's kids, because he wants them at the front of the picture. And Frank picks up a rando little black boy and says, "This is Liam." So fucked up.
Messed up.
Debbie arrives at Patsy's and pushes through the crowd because Patsy's has a wait. And turns in $15 to Fiona and says that she'll be back with more. And Fiona looks impressed, not with the money, but more with like her work ethic.
It's crazy though
and
that like
she
she's
has
actually
handed her more money,
paying her
yeah.
in small intervals though. Like I would have at least packed a couple more bucks before I handed it over.
Yeah, I mean, but Fiona's like, at least then Fiona knows that she's working on it, because I think she says something where she's like, "I'm gonna be back with more, don't touch my stuff," or something like that. And, like, Fiona has been in that position before, so she's like, okay. Luther finds Carl on the street looking sad, and he feels bad for the fact that Carl got rejected from military school, but he still won't vouch for his blackness, but he does suggest that Carl go get a DNA test. And he says, all it takes is an oral swab of your cheek. And Carl goes, "They swab my ass cheeks?" And he says, "Oral, Gallagher. That's the mouth." So Luther offers to pick him up tomorrow and take him to the test, which I thought was very sweet. Back to Debbie panhandling, she runs into Derek's sister-in-law, Tanya.
Anna
Flores.
And
Anna Flores.
Flores.
The absolute proof that Eddie Diaz is gay, because he fumbled Anna Flores.
Well, the most hilarious thing about Anna Flores and Gabrielle Walsh is that she is not Latina.
She's not.
Oh.
She's mixed, right? Though she's
over half of her TV roles. I think she's like, I mean, it doesn't matter what she's mixed with, but like, she's not Latina. Over half of her roles that she's played have been explicitly Latina roles. But now she's in the Found show on NBC with Shanola. She's in that show. So good for her. She's very pretty. Yes, definitely proof that Eddie is gay because she's very pretty. And Debbie like explains what she's up to, and then she like jokingly asks her for money. But Tanya looks more concerned that Debbie is begging on the street with her child. So she offers to help or to babysit, but Debbie declines, which like I was frustrated. I know she's upset because Derek left her, but also you baby trapped him.
Yeah.
But also girl, you do need the help.
Yeah.
Like, you clearly need the help. So Tanya leaves, and a homeless woman comes by and tries to kick Debbie out, claiming that the corner belongs to her. And Debbie refuses, and then the woman starts, like, pulling her pants down and pissing on the corner to mark it as her territory, which I felt like is a really weird choice. Like, I'm like, okay, yeah, I'm sure this shit does happen, but I was like, okay, like, this feels like a weird territory that we're diving into. So Debbie fights back and pushes the woman's cart into the street, and then the woman, like, shoves her back, and they start fighting. And Debbie, literally with Franny in her arms,
She's literally
is, like, fighting
that
this woman.
shit
But she lands a pretty good punch.
She does.
She lands, like, a great punch. But
that's because she's a baby doll
some guy
strapped
is,
to
like,
her chest.
filming it. Yeah. And then some guy is filming it, and Tanya looks on in horror. And Debbie wins the fight. The woman walks away, and that's, like, the end of the scene. Back at Patsy's, Fiona asks Lip if he got a quote on the washer, and he says that he was busy, and he asks her to handle it, but she says that she's not doing any more house shit. And, like, I think that they should be co-running the house, personally.
Yeah.
Like, I think they should be splitting responsibilities. I don't think, like, I feel like this
Be like,
whole,
Fiona,
like,
your name is on the deed. Like,
well, because the whole, like, I think the way I feel about Fiona's, like, crusade of, like, self-independence is that she's doing it just to, like, be passive aggressive towards the family because she knows that they don't appreciate her enough, which is true. But, like, I think that in order to keep everybody safe, they should be co-running the house, her and Lip.
I agree.
But whatever. So Lip watches as some guy, like, feels up Sierra, and he's jealous. And then we go to the club. Ian and Trevor dance at the club, and it is so funny looking, but they're having a great time. They dance together, they make out. Cameron is crazy.
Yeah.
You crazy
Cameron
boy.
kisses
Cameron is
crazy.
crazy. Cameron, I'm convinced, has never heard of a stage kiss. Or just, I feel like he's the kind of actor who
It needs to be
goes into a scene
believable.
with his partner, and he's like, well, he goes into a scene with his partner, and he's like, we can stage kiss, but would you like to not?
He and Noel go
Because
tongue
I think it would
first
look more
every
realistic.
time. Every time.
Yeah. And I'm sure he's like, because it would look more realistic if we didn't. Like, and it's the right choice, but it's like, damn, he is sucking face.
Just
Oh, yeah.
think
For
about
realski.
think about the Ian Mickey Docs kiss. Just think about that. about that.
Like literally.
Let's think about that.
Yeah.
And I'm always thinking about that. And he's Oliver Stark's father, so it's beautiful. At home with her Tinder date. Wait, Cam, I can't remember. Are you into Star Wars?
No, Trek.
Okay,
I mean,
that's what I thought.
I'm locked.
I wasn't sure if you liked both.
I have seen all of the modern Star Wars movies. I don't watch the TV shows.
Okay, no, this has nothing to do with that. A friend of mine is really into Star Wars, and she thinks that, well, my friend Sydney, you guys know my friend
Yes.
Sydney, and she thinks that, she's into the video games, and she thinks that Oliver Stark would be the perfect, Bowder in the KOTOR, COTOR, Knights of the Old Republic.
No fucking idea.
There's this, like, old 2002 Star Wars game. She tells me about it. She's like, no one played it. Like, the graphics were terrible. But I gotta send you a picture of Bowder because, like, they put Oliver in some special effects makeup and, like, guys, it would be serious.
I was about to say it would be funny if she was saying that the character that looks like Cam, that is Cam, what should be Oliver would be a great person to play that role.
Well, her point is that, like, then they could both be in the Star Wars universe
Yes.
together. It'd be
Yes, they could.
beautiful.
Please, Lena.
That's Bowder.
Please, that's
And then she says that, hold on.
Please.
She says that that Ryan, listen, she says that Ryan should play Atten, who I'm sending you a picture of now. And this one is more uncanny. This one is crazy.
We have to put these on the
Like,
Instagram
This
for the
is
episode.
actually insane, Lena.
Whoa. Okay, that
Dude,
one is
I gotta
crazy.
I gotta
that was
credit her.
crazy.
I gotta credit her for this because she is the one who brought this up to me.
This
so
one
to my
is
friend Sydney,
that
this
one's
is your idea.
ridiculous. That's ridiculous.
That one's ridiculous, right?
This looks like
and
Lou
sh-
Ferrigno
yeah, and she'll
Jr.
text me and she'll be like,
Stop.
and she'll text me and she'll be like, this is my
That
plan
is
to
Lou
get Oliver
Ferrigno
Stark
Jr.'s
as
stupid ugly
Bowder.
face.
No, he's kind of Ryan. He's kind of Ryan. She did send me this other one. Hold on. I'll show you guys. She did send me this other one that she was like, this guy's kind of also giving Ryan.
These photos are crazy.
And he's so giving
Is
Ryan.
it just a
oh
little
my
gay
God.
boy?
No,
Oh, yeah.
see, Adden is kind of
Yeah,
a little
yeah,
gay
yeah.
boy. She sent
Anyway.
me a different picture of Adden once. wait. Hold on.
Y'all, it's
coming.
been
She's
nearly
coming to you.
2 hours.
Yeah, I'm sorry. It's been a long time. It's been a while.
Oh,
But, like,
remember...
This. What?
Sorry, I realized where we were next, and we said earlier that the finance guy was a hit it and quit it, but like, round 2.
No, he ain't. Yeah, okay, so let's go back. Fiona's at home with her Tinder date, the finance guy from the beginning of the episode, and they're undressing, and she's also pressing him for money tips. And to his credit, he's giving her some advice. And he tells her that investing and ownership is the only way to go from poor to rich. And he says that the next time they can just meet at his office. And she's like, well, but then we don't get to fuck. Well, and then the implication too is like, if they meet at his office, he's probably going to make her pay for his consulting. So
Yeah.
she's like,
How about I pay you
no.
like this?
And he was sexy. In her room, Debbie is still trying to come up with ways to make money, and she's considering donating blood and skin. She's like talking out loud to Franny, who's a baby.
Yeah.
But she's like,
Blood,
she's like, what do you
fine.
think about like, yeah, she's like $4 per square inch of skin or some shit like that. But she's really determined to not let Fiona kick them out. In the morning, Fiona is doing laundry when V comes in to drop off some of her stuff that she left at their house. And Fiona offers to let V keep a pair of heels. V even returns her spare key, which is really sad. This is a breakup. And V says that Kev will come to pick up her stuff, like their stuff later. And Ian comes downstairs to greet V, and she's niceys to him. Kev did Ian's laundry.
Yeah.
And she's like overly nice to him, rubbing it in Fiona's face, who laughs, and Ian bitches out. Ian bitches out, of course. And Fiona says, really? You couldn't go to the laundromat just like everyone else? And he goes, just because you wanted to ice everyone out doesn't mean I have to.
Boom.
And I said, yeah. It's easy to forget once the Mickey of it all gets involved that Ian has relationships with everyone in the show. And in fact, he's like the most liked character out of, like, he's the most liked person out of everybody in the
and
show.
Svetlana were
Everybody loves
sister
him.
wives. Like,
and she liked him. She ended up really liking his company.
she
And, like,
trusted him with her child.
He's everyone's favorite sibling. Isn't there one part where someone's like, who's your favorite sibling? And like literally
Everyone
everyone's
goes
like,
Ian. Yeah.
like
Duh.
duh. Like he's like because he's Ian, my friend. But he like, I feel like it's easy to forget that he also has relationships with Kevin V. And there's a good scene later where he like talks to Kev. That's really fun.
Yeah.
So he's like trying to figure out what's going on. He asks what's up with the two of them, and she like snaps at him. And he snaps back and says that she doesn't give a shit about the family or V anymore. And she doesn't agree. She says she isn't going to apologize for improving herself. And then she says everyone else, including Ian, could use some self-improvement. And I said, not too much on Ian, because
No.
he's been improving.
A
Like,
man
he is
currently
probably
stable
the
on
only
his
one
meds, holding down a regular job.
holding down an EMT job.
Literally.
Like,
Yeah.
Sorry. Like, he is probably the only one who needs the least. He's the one who needs the least amount of self-improvement right now.
He
Ooh,
paid
not
you
too
your
much on my
rent
friend Ian.
early. He paid you your rent early. He is on his
He
meds and he's
offered to
holding down
cover
a stable,
Debbie.
stressful job. Like,
Ooh, not too much on Ian. Anyway. Ooh, she makes me mad. Sorry. I'm an Ian defender forever.
well, Fiona, the one thing that has always itched me so bad about Fiona is how hateful she is about Mickey. Like, you don't know, you don't understand. And even though you were there and you saw Mickey be supportive, why are you such a fucking hater? I don't get it.
I feel like it's, I don't know, a weird part of me feels like it comes from a place of envy.
Jealousy?
Because
Yeah.
it's like, jealousy, because it's like, Mickey, I think in Fiona's mind is sort of like Jimmy Steve. And I think, even though she's over Jimmy Steve, I think she's upset that, like, she didn't get that. It didn't work out for her, you know? And
that she felt like a little bit of vindication and like, oh, of course that good thing didn't last for you. Good things don't last. That is my proof.
right. And then Ian's like, fuck you, we got married. Fuck you, we married each other.
Fuck you, we got married.
Fuck you, we got out. And we moved
His
to the West
last-
Side, bitch.
Their last scene together, he says, I love this man. Like, come on.
Well, Fiona's not there, but their last scene, his last scene with her, she asks about Mickey, and she seems like she's fine with it. He's like, yeah, Mickey and I are good. He's working in the laundry. Like, anyway, whatever.
Anywho,
she's just a hater
yeah.
because she's jealous. Outside, Carl watches as Frank's homeless shelter gets a delivery of new furniture and appliances, including a new washing machine. And Fiona comes out with Liam, and the two look on, and they're pissed. Everybody's pissed. At the pediatrician, Kev is there with the girls and Yev, and the doctor comes in and asks who's getting vaxxed first, and then Kev explains that the one twin gets all of them, one of the twins gets none, and then Yev gets half. And the doctor's like weirded out, obviously.
Like, hey, what do you mean? Hey, adult man, what do you mean?
At college, Lip at like what is it? Chicago Technical Institute or something. Lip goes to Joaquin's dorm, and my question here was, did they recast?
No, I think he got a
That's
haircut,
different
or
guy. Yeah.
is it? I thought his hair
okay,
long,
but
and then
he
it's
does
short.
he does say that he's Joaquin, right? He does say Joaquin, right?
Yeah, it is
This
Joaquin.
is the
It's
guy
the
who's
guy
selling
who
weed that codes.
Yeah.
That is who this is.
Yeah, it's the coder.
Yeah, okay. I think his name is Joaquin. And he walks in on him and a naked girl, and that's like the end of the scene. At the doctor, Luther and Carl are given a 2-for-1 DNA test deal, but Luther declines, and the doctor is also black. And Carl asks what the chances of him being from Africa are, and the doctor says pretty high because of the, like, you know, out of Africa theory. And Carl wants Luther to take the test with him to see if they're from the same tribe. Luther agrees, but he's not happy about it. And, like, I don't know, that's kind of his kid. Like, it was kind of sweetly.
Truly the only thing I don't like about Luther is that it leads to Carl being a cop. Like, in all other ways, I enjoy Carl having another fatherly figure in his life.
Well, actually, like, in a weird roundabout way, because it leads to him going to military school. I don't think it actually leads to him becoming a cop. I can't remember how exactly that happens, but I don't think Luther's involved. I think,
well, no, but the
that's a
military
couple
school
seasons down
leads
the
to
line.
the cop thing.
Yeah, but Carl's in military for a while. It's like Kelly, his girlfriend. I don't really remember, because then he's kind of like a vigilante for a second.
Yeah, I liked
too.
Vigilante Carl.
Because then he's running that, like, with Cassie, he's like doing that thing. Well, what's the thing with Cassie where he's doing that thing where he's like detoxing people in the basement for free?
Oh yeah, she's one of the people he goes to detox, and then she
Cassidy.
Yeah.
Cassidy. But then how does he become a cop after that? Oh, well, he goes back to military school. And then when does Carl become a cop? Season 10?
Season 11.
But is he not going through
maybe at the end of
police
season
training?
10, yeah.
Hold on really quickly. Wait, no, let's keep going.
Yeah.
This doesn't
Yeah, we'll get there.
On the street, Debbie and Franny make their way to Patsy's, and one of Debbie's flyers that she put up a couple episodes ago has been defaced with a dick in her mouth, and she angrily rips it down. At that moment, a guy in a wheelchair almost bowls her over, but he catches her, which is a real meet cute. Sure.
I am charmed. I'm charmed.
It's a weird storyline, though. It goes to some
Yeah.
weird
Yeah.
places.
Yeah.
But I do like Zach Perlman, the actor who plays Neil.
Yeah.
I do really like Zach Perlman, so I'm not mad. But at the Alibi, Frank and Dolores come in, and Svetlana says that Frank can't order any drinks and he can't have a tab because he never pays, but he says that he's ready to pay up. And he owes $224, which he does cough up. And this
feels
is cute.
low
Svet
for
and
Frank.
V. Yeah. And, well, I assume he hasn't really been in much lately, but this is a cute detail, but Svet and V are dressed in pink and orange.
Mhm.
I just thought that was sweet. But they serve them their beers, and then like Frank and Dolores start making out at the table, and V and Svet watch, and they're like really weirded out. Debbie brings wheelchair guy into Patsy's, and then we find out that he is Sierra's brother Neil. She also finds out that Neil was in an accident, which causes him to have no verbal filter, and then he immediately says that she has big tits, which, like, not to go on a weird tangent, but I can't imagine being Emma Kenny and being like 17 and having my body talked about that way on TV. Also because it's a character that she's played since she was like 10. So it's like they're talking about her. It's not like they casted her as a 17-year-old and we're like, okay, we're looking for like a curvy girl or like a girl.
That's just how she grew.
You know. It was like she grew up and then they were making comments about her body.
Yeah.
Like, I just
this
was like,
show
I don't
is
know.
weird
like,
and creepy about the women on it. Like, it is.
And she, right, and it's like, and she was legit, like, 17. Like, she was still young. But he wants food, and Debbie offers to sit with him because he really likes Franny. He's pretty good with her. Then, back at the Gallagher house, Ian answers the door to find Trevor with tea, and he invites him in to talk, and Trevor... With tea. Yes. Well, he says something, he's like, tea for your throat, because, like, whatever.
I know, it was, like, so stupid. It was just like, tea, get the fuck out of here.
It was a dumb line. It was a really dumb line. And he invites him in to talk, and Trevor says that he had a lot of fun with him. And then Trevor says, well, we can always hang out at my place next time, you know, watch a movie or fuck. And Ian just goes, what? Which is so hilarious.
It was so flat. Like, what?
What? And Trevor pushes back. They may have been drunk, but it's clear Ian wants him. And Ian says Trevor was in heat. Hashtag Omegaverse. And then says that, and then turns him down because he's like, well, I'm into cock. And then Trevor calls Ian red when he's trying to goad him. And it's so clear that they're trying to make him suit a Mickey, but it will not work on me because I'm loyal. I remember I started getting a little nutty towards the end of these notes. Ian asks if Trevor has a vagina. Do you do that too? Do you get like a little cray?
In this part of like the conversation, I do also get a little crazy toward the end. Yeah, I'm like, what am I even doing? In this part of the conversation, I think it's the show it's pretending to be woke again and like having to lay down an education on cisgender people, but it also, like, if you're talking to a person that you're going to have sex with, they are allowed to ask, like, what's the deal?
Like, this is a conversation that you should be having. Yeah. Especially if
you want to have sex with this person,
it's good to know what you got yourself getting into.
Especially if it is like Trevor, which we'll get into. Well, so, okay, Ian asked if Trevor has a vagina. This upsets him. And he obviously has, like, serious bottom dysphoria. I don't know why I wrote dysmorphia. He has serious bottom dysphoria. I'm not even going to try to correct that. And he says that the vagina is a non-factor. Even though it does exist, it's clear he doesn't want to use it. And so, again, I'm like, okay, this is a conversation that should be had because it's like, well, Ian doesn't really bottom. And... like, if you think about, like, quote-unquote, the anatomy, I don't know. This is a conversation that should be had.
When I first saw this, like, scene in general, I remember having the conversation with myself because, like, obviously Ian does ask if he does have, like, a vagina or something, but, like, that you can, from being a queer individual, you can assume this is Trevor implying that, like, he doesn't want to use that part of his body. But when I first watched it, it made it seem like he was, like, he only was into anal or something like that. And, like, it kind of gave it to me the idea, like, oh, even though you are a trans guy, it means that you still have to fall into that box that, like, you're only using that because you are X, Y, or Z. I don't know. I feel like when I first watched the scene, it took me a second to go, like, are they just implying because he is a man, he has to use, only use that part of your body? Because obviously there are plenty of trans men who use both or only prefer one or the other, and, like, obviously there is a preference. But I feel like when this scene was implying, like, because he's also a gay male, that it's anal what they would be doing. Like, no indication even about the vagina, unless it was Ian, the one asking about it.
Yeah. And there's also, like a gentler show that is better with its words could also, in this conversation, be like, and I don't call it that.
Yeah.
Or, like, something like that.
Yeah, like, the thing that I feel like they try to point out or try to draw out in this conversation is, like, they try to establish Trevor as like a stone top.
Yeah.
Because he says, like, he keeps bringing up the fact that he has cocks
Yeah.
to fuck Ian with. So it's like, it's clear that he doesn't want to bottom at all, doesn't really want to be like touched, quote unquote, at all, at least at this point. We know that changes later,
Yeah.
but like I think, yeah, I mean, this is sort of like just the conversation of like who would top and who would bottom, but it's a little more complicated because there's, you know, certain anatomy
Yeah.
that would lend itself to certain positions, but Ian has never sort of like explored that kind of sex in a different way
Yeah.
either. So anyway, Trevor gets like frustrated with, you know, everything going on. So he says that they should just be friends and he leaves. But then he like, well, because Ian's a little like confused when Trevor points this out. And Ian's also, I think, just like, I don't bottom. Like, he's like, I just don't do that. So Trevor's like, okay, then we should just be friends. And then he leaves, but he like kisses Ian goodbye. Okay. I was just sort of like, okay.
Yeah.
Lip and Joaquin are like sitting on a bench in the park, I think, and Joaquin hands Lip a beer, but he doesn't drink it. And then they talk about Lip's expulsion and his new gig, and then proposes that they hack the system by rerouting credit card payments into their accounts.
And then what if they kissed a little?
Just like
And then what if they
Right?
kissed a little?
bisexual Lip. Lest we forget, Jeremy Allen White is playing gay soon.
Soon.
Oh my god,
It's
right.
time in his career. It's time. At Patsy's, Debbie and Neil talk, and she finds out that he got into the accident because he rode his skateboard into a bus. He got a bunch of money from the settlement. He likes babies, and that he's attracted to her. He lives with Sierra, who takes care of him when she's not busy. And it seems like Debbie has stumbled into a perfect situation for her. A lot like Cancer Mom. Outside, Fiona smokes a cig and thinks. She sees a guy talking to Etta at the laundromat, and she looks upset. At the ball house, Ian brings over some of Liam's stuff to wash, and he catches up with Kev, and I really love this scene. Kev tells him about the vaccine experiments. He also drops V's shit from Fiona, and Kev asks if Ian knows what's going on, but Ian doesn't really know either. And the fight is like stressing Kev out because he's like, I miss Fiona a lot, but obviously I'll choose V, like, because
That's
she's
his
my wife. But like,
sister.
Still his friend.
I love Fiona, yeah. So he asks what's going on with Ian, who tries to brush it off, and then Kev is like, please, 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 I hang out with babies all day, like, please talk about adult stuff. So amazing scene here because these are two characters you never see together.
Also worth noting that the first time you ever see Kev, it's Ian seeing Kev just cock out.
Cock out.
Like, and that's your
That's
first
true,
indication
and
of
this
like,
is like, and this is how we know that Ian's gay as well. And he goes, I've been dealing with toddlers all day, talking ABCs, telling them what sounds a cow makes. It's moo, motherfucker, it's moo. I remember that was used in so many edits.
Oh yeah.
Like, people were using that clip like
It's
crazy.
that one, and it's like, circle doesn't start with an S.
What the fuck? Yeah. Ian brings up Trevor and how he's thinking about fucking him, but that Trevor has a vagina, and then he's like, kind of. And I said, oh lord, here we go. Ian is very confused about the whole idea of the vagina is a non-factor, like the wording of that. But he looks great. In this scene, he looks beautiful. Ian doesn't want to fuck up their friendship, but he also doesn't know if he can do the genitalia. And Kev like tries to ask more questions, but Ian's like, I'm gonna go. He's got something to figure out. Back at the laundromat, Fiona comes in to talk to Etta, and Etta says that they offered her $100,000, but she'd have to move out of the upstairs apartment that she lived in since the 50s. And Fiona has a lot of ideas on how to boost the business, so she offers to split the profits with her, but Etta like isn't into it. She's pretty dejected. At the homeless shelter, Frank is counting the panhandling money. I think she's like, I'll split the profits with you and we'll use the money to get you into like a nice nursing home or something. Like, I don't think she says like you can stay in the apartment. At the homeless shelter, Frank is counting the panhandling money and he's skimming more off the top now for quote-unquote expenses, and New Lip starts to question this. He manipulates them, of course, and New Lip takes after Real Lip and questions the system. He's sowing the seeds of unrest in the homeless shelter. Back at Patsy's, Margot has come to visit and reports that Chad told her that Fiona asked for a raise. Fiona stands by this, and Margot says that she's giving her 25 extra a week, but Fiona retorts that she asked for 50. And then Margot bitches her out and says that Fiona has to be an owner in order for her to take her seriously. Back at the ball house, Svet has finished the adoption applications. They take shots together and sign them. At work, Lip gets a text from Sierra asking him to come over, and then Joaquin calls. Him and Lip are successfully hacking into the system.
I'm in.
Carl gets his DNA test back. There's no black DNA, but he is 33.5% Apache Native American Indian, which is crazy, but also sort of implies that Carl is not Frank's.
Yeah, this show doesn't care, though.
So, I mean, because Carl could be anybody's, I guess. Luther is 22% Irish Puritan, which we all know how that happened. And Carl makes a joke about how Luther's people killed his. Yay for him. And Luther's like very not into it. Ian answers a knock at the door. It's a guy named Tony who's there for Debbie, and he's a DCFS agent opening an investigation into her parenting. Everyone is gobsmacked, but then the guy shows her the video of her fighting the homeless lady, and Ian and Fiona are like, "Oh,
like, girl, you did."
And that's the end of the episode.
We can't defend that, actually.
Like, that looks bad, because it is bad. In the after credits scene, Kev, V, and Svet watch the babies in the playpen. One of them sneezes, but Kev forgot to write down which twin got vaccinated and which didn't.
Dumbass.
So they're like, they don't. So the whole thing's a fail. Anyway, there's no end credits song, and I don't know. Like, when I was watching this and doing the notes, I was struggling, but now I'm like reading it back. I'm like, this was a great episode, and I think watching it through, I had a good time. I think it was just because I kept having to stop and be like, we're back at the internship. We're back at the Gallagher house. Like, I was just it
was a bit of a slog. It was a bit of a setup for other things of an episode. Not much happened, but a lot started to happen.
Yeah, we did get
stories
some
and
stuff.
opened doors for other stories. We're still continuing some other things. Like, I don't know. It's a mid-season episode, so
yeah. But the next episode, we have the defenestration of Frank. I bet you can't guess what happens in this one. Carl embraces his Apache heritage. Debbie wants to get married to Neil, but Fiona doesn't approve. The FBI raids Lip's job again, and Frank rallies his homeless. And that is Shameless.
Yeah, and we're coming up.
We did it.
We're coming up
2
on
hours
the episode.
Recording. Sorry, everybody.
Yeah. We're coming up on the episode that somebody emailed us about months ago. I think she emailed us about
which
episode
one
7.
Was it
episode 7?
You'll never ever get a chicken in your whole entire life. I think. Yeah, that one's good.
And I will tap into that one. I knew it wasn't any of these. We will tap into that email when we get to that episode. Listen, this was a good one. And it was just nice chatting again. I missed you guys.
Yeah. Like, I missed you. Come on now. We had a lot to catch up on. I hope the listeners missed us.
Yeah.
As much as we missed you.
And I'm going to try to edit this and get it out this week, because next week, baseball is back. My birthday is in 2 weeks, and 911 is returning.
Let's go!
I'm about to be so annoying.
It's going to be crazy. So 911, I have Righteous Gemstones. Severance is still going to be on.
Yellow Jackets is currently airing.
So I've been hearing a lot that I should watch it, but I need to rewatch Twin Peaks.
Have you never ever watched?
My friends are watching
Yellow
Twin
Jackets?
Peaks.
I watched the first episode.
No.
Oh, so in the first episode that the girl, how it opens, they're chasing that girl through the woods,
and then she gets on the spikes.
And they zoom in on the necklace that she's wearing, the heart necklace. I have literally owned this necklace for years. It's the same fucking one
That's
from
funny.
from the show. This becomes very important in the show. It's the mark of the girl that they're hunting. It's crazy.
That is
It's
funny.
I definitely
you're
need to
like, I'm
lock
on
in. I
that.
just don't know why I haven't continued it. I've been in like not.
Oh,
watching
dude, it's
anything.
unbelievable.
I haven't watched. If I'm being honest, I haven't watched 901 in like 2 months. I started watching season 2 yesterday, so I've just been watching that
Rewatching?
season 2 of 901 right now
Rewatching 911?
because I haven't.
I
watched
was
anything
talking
for,
about-
like, 2
Real.
months.
I was like casually talking about my little gay firefighters with my one coworker, and our another coworker was standing right next to us, and I was like, "Oh yeah, they're about to kiss on the mouth," and she went, "Wait, I watched 911 through 3 seasons. Who are you talking about?" And I went, "Buck and Eddie." She's like, "Oh, I sort of zoomed out." I'm like, "You watched the tsunami episode and then stopped
It said,
watching?
I'm good.
What's wrong with you?"
But then since they didn't get together at the end of the season, I would be like, man, I'm fucking bored.
Bored.
Well, she didn't even understand the connection, and I was like, "Oh, lock in, lock the fuck
Lock
in."
I met a new friend the other night, and I was like, I'm friends with her sort of through her sister, and her sister's really into 911, and so I spent like 3 hours talking to her about Buddy.
Love that.
And I was
Love
like,
that.
I was like the Buddy pill, like it's crazy, and I was like explaining all this shit, and then as soon as I started explaining couch theory,
Oh my god.
and I was like going through couch theory, she was like, oh my god, like this is crazy. And I was like, and it's not an accident. It's not.
Yeah.
Because the same writer wrote all the episodes. Like he's doing that shit on purpose. So I think she's gonna clock in.
Yeah. The damningest part of that is not only Buck immediately passing out on Eddie's couch because it's the only thing I'm comfortable in, but then 2 episodes later, Christopher being passed out in the same position. Girl, get the fuck out of here.
Cam, you're gonna love the cut of Buck Like Me that I sent you. But the other thing is I just put this together like the other day, but the couch being ruined by Cameron giving birth on it, and then the surrogate, like the sperm donor thing being the catalyst for this like fight that he has with his parents.
Mhm.
Now that's something. That ruins the couch that his parents bought him. Now that's something. Yeah, that's big. It's huge even. I was thinking so deeply about that storyline the other day because I was just like, okay, Buck is Jesus.
Buck is Jesus.
Buck is literally Jesus. He wakes up, guys. He gets struck by lightning, he dies. He wakes up a couple days later, resurrected, with matching burn wounds on his hands like stigmata after a journey through hell. Like he's Jesus.
He's Jesus.
He's just the matching burn wounds on the hands was like I was like, no, I've had it. He's Jesus.
Over
Like they torture him.
One of these days we will acknowledge the fact
but yeah.
that he and Eddie got struck by the same bolt of lightning. One of these days. One of
Well,
these days.
I'm always thinking about that. I'm always thinking. But this is fun.
I feel we've reached the natural end of our episode where I have to pee.
I have to pee. I'm so hungry.
Classic. Classic.
This has been a late night
yeah.
record. We miss each other very much, and we got to finally get back. I miss Shameless when we're not talking about it. It's not my all the time show anymore, but like it's my
I like that we're
forever
like
love.
microdosing
It's always
it.
there.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Anything else for you guys?
But yeah.
No,
Nope. Not from me.
not for me.
No. I'm sure I'll text
Okay.
y'all immediately when we're done. Anyway.
Oh, always.
Yeah, I got lock into your iMessages. I have videos that I've sent you that you need to watch now.
Immediately.
Yes. Gotta lock in. All right. Until next time, everybody.
right.
Thanks for holding
Goodbye.
in.
Goodbye to you people.